We are live deep in the heart of Texas here at Amarillo Kart Complex for the final round of the Texas Sprint Racing Series. The fall finale coming your way here this week. And as always, my name is Caleb Vieska. Joining me here alongside in the booth, Rocco Ruzic makes his return for the final race of Texas Sprint Racing Series action. Rocco, it's been a good year all the way up to this point. And again, this weekend, a lot of championship battles coming into it, and I know we're super excited to be out here for the final round of the Texas Sprint Racing Series.
Yeah, a few tight championship battles, like you said, for sure there, Caleb. You have in the 206 class, in the senior class, Reagan Seville and Bryce Frank both fighting for that top step. Coming into DKC, you had Reagan with the lead, and he was even talking to me about how he was going to have a vacation for Amarillo and just take a drop race, because he was very solid in every other race up until DKC. And while he was not doing too terribly in DKC, finishing 6th, I believe, you had Bryce Frank go away with the win. So a huge points haul for Bryce Frank coming into this round. So either of them can snatch it on the table.
Yeah, and that actually put Bryce Frank up to the top of the championship standings there that weekend. But you come into this weekend here for your Micro Swift drivers. Dutch Westbrook, again, another driver that had a really good weekend at the Dallas Kart Complex. He was able to win that race by a long, long mile. So we'll look for Dutch Westbrook to impress us once again here this weekend. But making his return as well this weekend, Brody Stoffel is back with the SLA Kart Racing crew on that Senior Racing USA machine. So look out for young Brody to take the fight up to Dutch Westbrook. And those two drivers, both of national caliber, look for them to kind of get into the mix. Don't never count out Kimo Ahmad as well, who's going to be one of the drivers that is going to have a lot of pace. But this weekend into the championship here for your Micro Swift drivers, Kimo Ahmad, actually, I stand corrected, your leader with 1,145 points. Right behind him is Dutch Westbrook with a big points haul to kind of get up to Kimo Ahmad's championship points lead. It's not too bad. It's actually about 99 points back to Dutch Westbrook. So a lot is going to have to go his way to kind of swing the championship his way. For Victor Gus Wonderly sits in 3rd, Blackwood in 4th, and Nayeli Vargas sits 5th in the championship. So again, anything can change here. And again, new contenders who haven't run the entire season are back this weekend in Brody Stoffel. And again, luckily for us this weekend, we have 3 cameras out here, and today we are going to be able to hear from some of these drivers with our interview camera that is set up here alongside in the grid. So that's going to be a super exciting thing for us this weekend. I mean, how good is it to hear from some of these drivers later on, Rocco?
Yeah, it's been I don't think we've done interviews for TSRS yet, so it's a bit of a change, and hopefully we can upgrade next time and have the shoulder cam. Yeah,
maybe even so. I know you were experimenting with that as well, so good to see it. But I mean, Amarillo Kart Complex, we're in the Panhandle, known specifically for the windmills here this weekend and the really flat terrain that you kind of experience when you get out here to Amarillo. And the Kart Complex, I mean, a huge shout out to the entire Uchinsky family that does a great job with this place, and a new corner as well. The biggest story this weekend has been the revamped racetrack here this weekend with, for those of you who have raced here before, this is an exact replica of the Istanbul F1 track that was run throughout the year, but it is super different. And the last thing that they were missing was that last little chicane in the back section that was actually implemented this weekend after we came here for the IKF Grand Nationals on how to improve the safety of the racetrack, how to slow down the speeds on the main straightaway, and they decided to add that chicane and hairpin to the end of it. But your KA100 juniors out on the racetrack now. The driver in 2nd for the CRG Nordum Racing team sits in the lead of the championship here. David Ibarra, a good weekend for him all year long, or a good year for him, has put him up at the top with 986 points. Right behind him, Tyler Roberts with 962, and Tyrone Kemper Jr., the kid from NOLA, with 894. Everybody still within a shot of a championship points haul here this weekend if they can put a weekend together, Rocco.
Yeah, and one little point you said earlier about that final corner that they made adjustments to earlier, adding a little chicane. A few drivers said that it's more of a bottleneck now, so we may see a little bit of a spread coming through that corner. We haven't seen it race yet, so it's just speculation, but I would believe with that corner being so tight you would have a lot less, too wide moments going through there. So we'll see as the day progresses what happens. That's just what I'm expecting from that final corner.
Yeah, and we have heard a lot of things of that corner as well. I mean, a lot of drivers have said it's very Supernats-esque, those drivers that have been a Supernats and race the Supernats with the barriers that are there. And again, it just improves the safety just that little bit more and slows down the speed, and it keeps them away from, I guess, pummeling into the barriers here on the main straightaway. And obviously safety has been provided for that corner. It's not just barriers. For those of you guys that are home and wondering, there is pillows and tires on that inside to kind of absorb the impact and not throw any barriers onto the racetrack. So that's the biggest goal and key here. Obviously, we haven't seen it race yet. We have seen a lot of practice. Not many. I don't think I've seen any drivers hit those barriers as of yet. But it obviously can change as the weekend progresses, Rocco. And again, for those of you who have seen Amarillo, I guess, live on TV, then you obviously know that the racetrack used to just be the last hairpin, and then it was a straight shoot onto the main straightaway. But they now have to take action and do come back left, which is a much sharper radius to come back to the left-hand side of the racetrack, and then go right and then left again with that hairpin. So again, watch here with the Berry brothers and another one of the GWR machines here this weekend as they go into the last corner. Again, this is the hairpin. This corner was tightened up just a little bit, and then you go into the right-hander here to provide the run onto the straightaway. So that last little chicane is going to be super interesting to see as Jeremiah Thomas moves out of the way for the GWR crew to work their way through. Austin Miles, the lead man here for this team this weekend, as one of the Berry brothers way off the racetrack there on the exit of 2. Not how you want to, I guess, start your morning here, Rocco, with a little bit of cleaning to do for your mechanic in the morning. But again, for Austin Miles, the lead man for this team this weekend, and looking to lead them on for team owners, Trevor McAllister there with the Arcade Motorsports Group, another one of the CRG Norda machines, and Luke Cruz for the TV Kart Amarillo Kart Complex team, a home track and a home race for the Amarillo native here this weekend. So we'll see how all these drivers do it. Again, the big story at DKC, Nathan Golseth, his first regional race victory, and he has had really good national pace in the past couple of weeks, putting himself well inside of the top 10 and fighting for race wins and podiums all year long. So good to see you there from Nate Golseth back out on the racetrack. Up next, if I'm not mistaken, I believe your 206 seniors that are going to get out into the racetrack next, and then we'll take you through all the championship battles there as well, and hopefully hear from some of them after their session is done and dusted. But we continue to follow around here with the 824 and another driver, another tire off the racetrack, Hamza Ambar, one of the Arcade Motorsports machines, way off the racetrack there, dropping a tire and keeping all the TSRS marshals on their toes, Rocco.
Yeah, I mean, we had Barry drop a tire a second ago as well, and as you said, it's not a good thing to do, but if there is a time to do it, it's now and not later in the day. Get all those little baubles out in the morning, for the heat, so you want to be as clean as you can, figure out what you can and can't get away with. On our screen now, Nathan Golseth, you were just talking about him a second ago. This kid has had more exposure than almost any other kid in this class. Goes to a lot of national races, he's been doing stars as well, participating in the OK&J class, and there have been some promising results in that class. So, I mean, definitely a talent to look out for as he progresses through these ranks, and once he gets to the senior, we'll see. I mean, a few years to go, but this could be this could be the next Aiden Rudolph. You don't know. Yeah, no, for sure, especially here in TSRS action. Tyron Kemper Jr., another kid who's been super impressive, and again, he sits third in the championship here this weekend. It was a good start to the year for him in NOLA at his home track, a track that he knows really well, and he started off really good with a lot of pace. So he had a good start to the year there, but again, he hasn't found himself back up on the top step since then. Hasn't found himself with a couple of podiums, but just not where he'd like to be, to say the least. And a cool sticker for him there on that front nose fairing. We were selling merchandise yesterday, which explains why me and you have a little bit of funky haircuts here this morning. But for those of you who want some intel on what transpired on the Friday afternoon yesterday, we did sell some merch out here for the first time at TSRS, and I put a goal on my fellow Texas natives and my fellow Texas locals that if we could sell $1,000, or if they could buy $1,000 worth of merchandise, then I would happily buzz my head. Happily. And, well, not happily, because obviously I love my hair. And again, they were able to get to that goal. And
My hair is gone this morning. Not as gone as yours, though, Rocco.
Oh, yeah.
I know you were a good friend and joined me with that, but I apologize.
Yeah, you have a hat on right now. Dude.
And I do have a hat on.
Terrible.
It'll stay on for the rest of the year, probably until we get to Las Vegas or maybe even the CKNA Grand Nationals later on in the year. But yeah, that's a little bit of intel. If you see myself and Rocco around the paddock, again, give us a nice little wave. Don't rub our heads, please. But yeah, it'll be good and exciting to see how this weekend continues to progress for all these drivers. So look out for a lot of those KC stickers that will be out on the racetrack. And if somebody can give us a free count, we'll give something out. Maybe a total count of KC stickers on go-karts this weekend. We'll give a total count and I just give it out for sure or something. We'll come up with something here, Rocco. But Amarillo Kart Complex, again, a beautiful facility here this weekend. 206 Senior fired up already, and they're getting set to come out on to the racetrack. Bryce Frank, the driver that leads the championship here this weekend over Reagan Seville and what looks to be Cameron Reed, who's not here this weekend. So Frank leads the championship with 997 points. Reagan Seville with 971. Cameron Reed with 856 not present here this weekend, so that allows Kelvin Zing to try and move himself up into the third spot in the championship. Jacob Oliver in fifth as well. A good shot for Oliver to try and get himself onto the podium places here in the championship. So a lot of these drivers that have had a lot of pace, again, for the Trackside Karting Services GFC drivers. Doug Fleming on site for them here this weekend, a new engine program for Tim Lobo and his entire operation. So look out for those drivers.
Need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rib protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next, well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Back here to Amarillo Kart Complex as we work our way with our K8 Masters. They're out on the racetrack now, and they work their way through. Evan Kozak, they're on the racetrack now. Perdande right behind them. Caligaro right behind him. Caligaro, right behind him there. And I have been standing corrected many, many times already about his name, so need to get better on that here, to say the least. But for all these drivers, a wild last time out for them at the Dallas Kart Complex, Rocco. All 6 top drivers found themselves in the wall at the Dallas Kart Complex, and that was a wild, wild race. Again, I mean, we chuckle here a little bit, but we've never seen anything like that where David Perdande was able to come away on the top step of the podium after taking advantage of everything that ensued there. But a wild one to say the least.
Yeah, that's why you never take your foot out of it, why you'll always keep racing. You know, anything can happen. But we saw the leader of that race, get hit a little bit from behind, and every other driver behind him tried to go around the outside, and that outside was just never there. So they all just went straight to the barrier. It was something I'd never seen before in all my very limited weekends commentating. So, I mean, I bet there's a lot more to see, but on your screen now, that is Miguel Mir, I believe, coming through the first sector of this trek, and it's a very nice looking little Carlos Sainz car right there, Caleb.
Yeah, the entire Cruise Racing development team has switched over and become a distributor for that Carlos Sainz racing machine here in the state of Texas. So a huge shout out to Alex Cruz and his entire operation here this weekend, doing a good job. They're actually pitting with the TV guys in the shop here at Amarillo Kart Complex. So for those guys getting real close to each other and real familiar with each other as well. And Miguel Mir, not close to anybody else on the racetrack. They're all on his lonesome and lapping around here further back in the order. So for Miguel Mir, again, one of the drivers to look out for every time that you come out to this X1 Racing Series. And a couple of returnees as well this weekend. The Mustache Man has returned. Morgan LeBaron, after what was almost a year hiatus, is back here this weekend and looking to take the fight to a couple of drivers here. But your championship points leader, Pierce Boldis, with 1,150 points. Miguel Mir right behind him. 125 points back for Miguel Mir, finds himself in second in the championship. Kyle Walter sits in third. Burgande sits in the fourth spot after a great showing for him at Dallas Kart Complex. And Evan Kozak rounds up your top 5. So a couple of these drivers are going to look to work their way inside of the top 3 with some hard to wear some jackets at the end of the year here as well. And for Neil Faulkner out on the racetrack as well with that TB Kart, Amarillo Kart Complex operation here this weekend. So look out for Neil Faulkner to take the fight to a couple of drivers, and everybody else as well. Look for them to be quick in this throughout this racetrack. But again, back on the racetrack here, so following around with Faulkner and a couple of other drivers as well, who we saw at the IKF Grand Nationals, are back this weekend out on the racetrack as well here this morning. But Miguel Mir still quick as Kyle Walter sits in the third spot here in this morning warm session. Kogan Wright makes his return as well for Brent Harper, a driver who was really quick at Dallas Kart Complex. Makes his return here this weekend in the 413 Kart Republic. Randy Rogers is back this weekend as well. Scott Cherry finally makes his return here to TSRS Racing action for Mr. Scott Cherry, Mr. Rimrock himself, and everybody else as well. So it's going to be an exciting one here this weekend with a lot of one-off drivers and a couple of returnees that look to find themselves in a good spot in the championship. Look out for Morgan LeBaron with the High Five team, for Pierce Boldus as well with that LSR High Five team this weekend as well. So it's going to be a good one, Rocco. And I mean, coming into the championship, Pierce Boldus has done a really good job all year to keep himself up in the top step.
Yeah, a very good season from your KA Masters. The top 4 are tightly knit up in this warm-up session as well, so hopefully we'll see some pretty spectacular racing up in front with these Masters. Hopefully nothing that we saw in Dallas in that final there, but new weekend, so we'll see what all these drivers can do. We'll see what Burgande can do, if he can strike out on that luck again or just try and wheel his way up to the front. We'll see.
Yeah, Burgande has had really good pace throughout the year. He started off really strong at Nova Motorsports Park, and as well at Speed Sports Racing Park. He had really good pace, so look for Burgande to be up there and kind of taking the fight to these drivers, and as well a track that he's really familiar with here this weekend. So look out for those couple. Miguel Mir the fastest in the morning warm-up sessions. LeBaron second, Walter third, Evan Kozak fourth, and Pierce Boldus, the championship points leader, rounds up your top 5. As we look on from the windmills, more 206 engines have been fired up, and I believe it is your 206 cadets that are getting set to come out on the racetrack. If it's not them, then it is going to be your 206 heavies and your 206 juniors. We'll run you down both of those championships here as well. Madison Knox leads the heavy championship with 1,120 points. Nick Miller is in second with 980, and David Roddy sits third in the championship after missing a couple of rounds. Finds himself in third here this morning. For your 206 cadets, it's Tanner Barsh, who pretty much has his championship solidified here this weekend. He finds himself with 1,140 points. Theo Mitchell finds himself in second with 922. Dutch Westbrook sits in third. Aston Wyatt sits in fourth. And Marshall Steve, the driver who's been really quick all year long, finds himself in the 5th spot. Well, your 206 juniors on the racetrack now and lapping around, and CRG leading them away. And when you talk about CRGs, one of them that finds himself in a good shot within a championship here this weekend. Aiden Rudolph standing by with Taylor Burris here trackside. Taylor, what do you got?
Here with Aiden Rudolph, and Aiden, of course, second and last round, of course, second in the championship here for your KA 100 seniors. What is it that this track is so unique? We saw how well you did at the IKF. What can we find out to see what you can improve upon to try to take home the championship?
Yeah, I mean, I love this track. I mean, every time I come here, I always do well for some reason. You know, this is probably one of my favorite tracks, just driving wise, and you know, it suits my driving style really well. It has a lot of different corners for, you know, different types of driving styles, and you know, it suits me really well. So, you know, this is a good track for me, and I'm excited to get back on the top spot.
Well, of course, one thing also that we got to keep in mind is that giraffe that we'll see here a lot. I mean, where is your best position you want to be? First, second, or maybe somewhere mid-pack to where you can try to slingshot past your competition?
Yeah, I mean, of course you want to be in first, but this track definitely draft plays a big part with the win and stuff. So, you know, coming into the last few laps, you know, you probably don't want to be the one leading, but you know, who knows? It's TSRS, it's KA 100 senior racing, so you never know what's going to happen out there.
Well, good luck to you out there. We'll send it back up to you, Caleb.
Thank you very much there, Taylor. And indeed, you heard there from Aiden Rudolph and Taylor Burris about Aiden's championship, I guess, point standing, where he sits in the second spot. And for the driver he's fighting with, Jesus Vasquez Jr., we hope to hear from him later on in the weekend as well. But a very unique track, and again, it suits his driving style a whole lot. I mean, we saw at IKF Grand Nationals the absolute clinic he put on that 206 field, sweeping the entire weekend for that event. But for these drivers here out on the racetrack now, it's a good showing so far for a couple of them. RJ Guajardo, currently the quickest on the racetrack, his first weekend in 206 heavy this weekend. The 512, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that is the comp cart here. He is from Lubbock, Texas. His first TSRS start there for that comp cart on your screen now. All the way from Lubbock, Texas to race out here, and I had a good conversation with him yesterday to talk about, you know, why he's out here and his excitement to be out here. The closest thing for him, obviously being from Lubbock, is Amarillo Kart Complex. So good to see RJ out here this weekend, and hopefully having a good time, to say the least. That session done and dusted as they work their way into the pits here. 206 cadets coming out onto the racetrack here shortly.
These charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website.
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace, because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
If you want to see a giant selection of beautiful new dining room tables, chairs, servers, come out to Gallery Furniture to see with the latest and greatest dining room furniture. Best of all, buy this dining room furniture today, solid woods. Gallery Furniture delivers free to your Houston area home today.
Welcome back here to Amarillo Kart Complex, your 206 Cadets presented by Rimrock Raceway. Out on the racetrack now, Dutch Westbrook leading the field here so far, and he finds himself as well in a good championship points standings in third at the moment with 891 points to his name. Theo Mitchell, who unfortunately had a spin here on the exit, or on the front straightaway, finds himself in second with 922. Going to have to hold on to that here from Dutch Westbrook, but for Tanner Barsh, pretty much has this championship solidified, and as well, that driver had a really good showing last time out at the IKF Grand Nationals, Rocco.
Yeah, definitely. And sorry, my mic is a little far away from my mouth. And one thing you said a second ago about
Tanner Barsh there.
Tanner Barsh, but also Theo Mitchell. Theo Mitchell just came from Kid Karts like last year. No?
Yeah. Theo Mitchell's been racing in the, that's Dusty Strayer who you're thinking about. Dusty Strayer is the driver who moved up from Kid Kart up in a 206 Cadet here this weekend. Theo Mitchell sits in third for the MSO racing team on that CRG machine. He's been in this 206 Cadet class for quite some time already. Tanner Barsh, his teammate here, is a driver who has had a lot of pace for that MSO racing team and found himself with a good shot at the IKF Grand Nationals. Won one of the two. I believe it was the 206 Cadet Championship that he was able to win. I think came up just short, or he crossed the line in first, and both of them, Aston Wyatt, took one of them to his name. And again, Aston Wyatt, been a year kind of bad luck and a couple of gremlins for him as well in this 206 class, and have put him kind of on the back foot coming into championship weekend here in this one. So look out for that PSL for LR machine, AR Academy machine, I should say, to get up to Tanner Barsh's MSL machine here this weekend. And again, these two drivers have been going at it all year long. Dutch Westbrook has been getting himself into the mix, so we'll see how it all pans out. But we'll send down to Taylor Burris. He's caught up with the All-American Badass who's here this weekend. Billy Musgrave standing by with Taylor Burris.
Hang on.
So we'll try to sort out our little audio gremlins that we got going on here and get Taylor, I guess, connected with that mic. So we'll wait on with Billy here in a couple of moments. But lap times on the racetrack now with your 206 Cadets. A 119.016 for Dutch Westbrook. Tanner Barsh in second, a 119.076. Looks like they're ready down there now, so we'll send it back down to Taylor. What do you got?
We're here with Billy Musgrave, of course, your winner from the SCUSA Summer Nats that happened a couple of months ago. But Billy, you know, first and foremost, the hard work that you guys here at Factory Kart continuously do. Walk us through how the testing and development's been going, especially now with the KA side.
Yeah, so this year I've been mostly personally focusing on the shifter stuff. So I've been having Jake and some of our other drivers, Truly Adams, focus on the KA testing, primarily in the TSRS series out here. And yeah, we've been, trying to make the kart better and better. Obviously, for the new tire compound this year, things changed a little bit from last year. So yeah, we figured towards the end of the year here, getting ready for 2025, we kind of wanted to finalize some of our designs we're thinking about putting into place for our new frames for next year. So I've always loved this track here in Amarillo. It's one of my favorite tracks in the country. So it's always a pleasure to drive. So yeah, we've kind of just got back from STARS last weekend, packed up our whole little trailer, built up some stuff to come try and test, and yeah, made it out here on Thursday, and yeah, having some fun.
You mentioned that it's one of your favorite tracks. What makes this track so unique compared to all the circuits, especially the ones that are there on the West Coast in California, that makes this track so unique for you to race?
I think it's a couple things. I mean, I like the surface. I like the little slurry coat. Obviously the layout being a replica of the Istanbul Formula One track is pretty cool. But no, just the way the track flows and carries, the passing zones, it's technical. You got some heavy braking zones. You still got some corners where you really got to focus on the roll speed. So like from a chassis technical standpoint, you have good stability on the brakes. You got to have good rotation. The kart's got to be agile. So like, when you make changes here, you can feel where they make the car better in some corners, worse in others. So, I really enjoy testing at this place, especially like when we have races and the grip comes up. Yeah, it just makes it really educational.
Absolutely. Well, good luck out there, Billy, to the entire Factory Kart team. We'll send it back up to you, Caleb, and feel a couple of raindrops out here on the pit road. So we'll see if that may be changing some things out there for the drivers.
Quite interesting there with some raindrops falling. It was forecasted here on this Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon throughout the weekend, but a little bit early than what was expected there. So thank you, Taylor, for that advice. And great to hear from Billy Musgrave. I mean, to say the least, he's had a busy year on his schedule. He ran a full national series with the SCUSA Pro Tour and the Stars Championship Series. He had a good weekend last weekend as well. Just missed the 8-ball a little bit in the main event, but Billy has developed a lot of chassis, and you see some of his chassis out on the racetrack now in this 206 Cadet class. And as well, he's ventured out and done a lot. That KA Package won in Idaho in that Tillotson class as well. So at Spud Cup, if I'm not mistaken, for Billy Musgrave. So, I mean, that guy is definitely kept busy throughout the year and done a lot for his program to continue to grow. And he's had a lot of help. Frank Baldozier and the entire team and the JMF boys as well that have helped him out a lot with the Stars Championship Series. Speaking of that, Aiden Shimbashi here this weekend as well with a couple of other JMF drivers and some factory kart drivers that are here this weekend as well. But always great to hear from Billy, and we hope to hear a lot more from him as the weekend progresses. His operation has not been a one-man operation with just him. It's been with Jake French here in Texas to grow that brand just a little bit more and continue to expand as the years go on. And his brand has expanded. I mean, I talked to him at Night Fight a couple of weeks ago. It's been a wild year for him, not only as a racer, but also as a manufacturer, where his brand has grown a lot throughout the country and continues to do so. And I mean, that's one of the chassis that you'll start to see more often at your local racetracks. But done and dusted here for your 206 Cadets, presented by Rim Rock Raceway. Tanner Barsh, quickest in the morning session, a 118.264. Dutch Westbrook, second with a 118.403. And Tyler Morwack, your top three. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more warm-up action set to come your way.
Colin, I need a new 219 chain. I need a 77 tooth sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the Kart on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place, and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop AKR.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParallelinUSA.com.
Colin, I need a new 219 chain. I need a 77.
Class of the weekend. After this, we'll take a quick break for the drivers' meeting before the qualifying session. We'll be right back. I believe it's going to be a 30-minute break for us here. A pause in the action, nonetheless. But your KA seniors, a good weekend for a lot of these drivers up to this point. It's been, trying to tune in the setup with a new little bit of a track change, and as well as a gear change for some of them as well. They've had to change their gearing just a little bit to accommodate to the new corner there in the back section. Look out for TV drivers to be quick for the factory kart drivers as well. And Aiden Rudolph and Jesus Vasquez Jr., two of the drivers that come into this weekend in the championship fight. Jesus Vasquez Jr. leads by a mere 12 points here, if I'm not, I believe so. He leads with 1,115 points. Aiden Rudolph is behind by 1,078. So he has 1,078. Vasquez had 1,115. So the CRG drivers working together here early on in the morning. Peyton Phillips sits in third, mathematically not within a shot of the championship here this weekend. 66 points back, there for Peyton Phillips. And Landon Skinner, the rookie, sits in the fourth spot, and Jake French sits in fifth after a good weekend for him at DKC throughout the heats. But an issue with Louis Pagano put him out of contention in the main event. A couple of the Arcade Motorsports drivers, Noah Zars running KA this weekend. No shifter here, not enough entries, unfortunately, for Noah to run his shifter chassis here this weekend. But a couple of returnees as well. Piki Trejo back this weekend with the Arcade group and looking to put himself within a podium shot or a top 10 shot here as well. A couple of the factory kart drivers here this weekend, Alex Pope, Jake French, as well as Aiden Shimbashi and Billy Musgrave find themselves out on the racetrack now as well. Quickest here in the morning with low grip, Aiden Rudolph at 108.249. Jesus sits in fifth at the moment. He's making some moves there throughout the field on one of the factory kart drivers there. French just went quickest now, a 107.617, and again, expect those lap times to continue to dwindle down as this track gets quicker and quicker with a more and more rubber laid down. And on his final race of the year, and on his final race, I believe for a while, our very own Xander Clements here on what's been a struggle, a good up and down year for him, to say the least. Qualified fifth at Speedsports Racing Park, and this weekend looks to cap it off here at TB Kart's home racetrack in Amarillo Kart Complex. So we wish Xander the best of luck from all of us here at Kart Chaser, all of his employees, and his partner in Trevor Blue this weekend. Wish him the best of luck, and hopefully he can put himself up in the timing order. He sits just outside of the top 10 at the moment in 14. You see Musgrave making a move there on one of the Kart Racing Solutions drivers. So a couple of veterans, a huge mix in the order. I don't want to call Billy or Xander old in any way, but older than I guess the median age that we have here at TSRS. About 18, 19 years old is what you're used to seeing out here on the racetrack.
Yeah, a few guys must have escaped from the Masters class, but as you see, Zan at DKC, you know, was marred by a transponder issue in the qualifying. Definitely would have had a much better weekend had it not been for that, because he had a lot of pace finding his way.
I don't even want to change the subject now. That was goodness. I hope none of these guys or go back and watch this later on today. But
they're nice guys.
I think you said it best. A couple of guys. Well, I guess Xander and Jake not old enough for the Masters class yet. Billy is, and he was thinking about doing double. He was mentioning to Brittany Lobo on as issues here for the 951, and James Good, unfortunately, off the racetrack there for the Dallas native. But yeah, they're not old enough. They are older. They will be in Masters if they decide to run Masters in a couple of years' time. But when you have young guns like Aiden Rudolph putting in the lap times that he is here early on in the morning, I mean, it shows you the pace to be up there with these young guys. So far for Rudolph, a 107.412. Vasquez up by a couple of hundredths of a second. He just went quicker, though, 0.2 of a second quicker than when he did the lap before, a 107.051. And again, this racetrack, you need to have a good package when you come into this weekend. You need to have that top end to kind of get you throughout the back straightaways and have enough bottom to get you out of that new hairpin that just got added here this weekend. And he was on the episode of this last week's episode of Casey Grid Talk with his team owner and Tim Lowball, and you heard from him the different micron placement for him. He likes it in the front fairing, out of the steering wheel, so more of like a dashboard there for Jesus Vasquez Jr. And this Californian has been super impressive all year long, coming over from California. Last year was the first time we saw him was at Odessa, Texas, and then at Speedsports Racing Park he was able to do it. So for the California kid, Buddy Vasquez Jr. Looks to take a regional championship to his name for his dad as well. Jesus Vasquez is here representing the P1 engines with a couple of motors out there for him as well this weekend. But a lot of drivers have been in there to contend, like Peyton Phillips was able to get one at Kart Moto and finished third there in the championship. And the top three in the championship show you why they're the top three in the championship, because they're the top three every single session, every time that they get out there onto the racetrack. They're always up there and always fighting for heat race victories and fastest laps and pole positions. But in the morning, we wait for the last couple to cross the line. Jesus Vasquez, quickest on the morning, 107.051. Skinner second, Rudolph third, Music fourth, and Jake French rounds up your top 5. A quick break in the action, about 30 minutes for our drivers meeting. We'll come back in about 30 minutes time and count you guys down to the green flag. That is it for your morning warm-up sessions. When we come back, qualifying action set to get underway live from Amarillo Kart Complex.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Kart Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Kart Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
To everyone as we continue on with action here on Kart Chasers coverage of the Texas Sprint Racing Fall Finale here at the Amarillo Kart Complex. Taylor Burris here along with Horace Rocco Ruzick as we get set for qualifying. Currently your Mini Swift category presented by Alan Rudolph Racing Academy out on the track right now, and saw a lot of things looking forward to see here for this category, Rocco, as they get ready to set. Currently, for the first one lap wonder right now, it's Pasha Ali who sets the first time with a 1:22.699. But we know after a couple of minutes that will change quickly.
Yeah, it's just their first lap getting done right now. Right next to him on the track is that's Alex Chandler, I believe. So those two drivers, two very quick drivers that we've seen throughout the whole season. We'll see what they can do this weekend too. As reports of rain, I believe. We have rain on the window too, so it might get a little slick out there for these drivers because they're on those dry weather tires. It's I don't believe I've ever seen rain in my time being here at Amarillo, so this will definitely add a new variable to the track, as well as all that rubber that's been laid down of previous weekends and whatnot. I mean, it's probably rained since the last weekend, but you know, when it rains, that very first stage of it beginning to rain, as you see Pasha leave and wipe his visor, so it's definitely starting to get a little slippery out there. That early stage of it beginning to rain, that rubber gets picked up off of the racetrack and it starts to get very slick, so treacherous conditions may come forth in the next few moments, but we see them still. It looks like they're definitely backing off these corners a little bit now, Taylor.
They're going to have to, especially with the slick tires. So this is now going to be a little bit of a game-changing moment for some of the drivers let to go in qualifying of what they need to do. They got to keep an eye and see how long this rain is going to stay, how wet. Oh, as we see right there, Pasha Ali loops it around into the braking zone of turn number one, and that's exactly what you do not want to have happen here in qualifying. So now the question is going to be, Rocco, are we going to see drivers switch out to rain tires, or are they just going to take the risk, knowing that it's not going to rain too long? Because I'm looking back over towards the main city of Amarillo, and there's pretty much blue skies coming towards our way. So hopefully this rain won't stick around too long. But the question is going to be, do you want to go slicks, or do you want to go with the treaded rain tires?
And not only that, if we had any more rain, if we had, let's say, enough rain to wash this laid down rubber off the racetrack and even free up the free up the track, you may see some drivers change setup. You know, if they're too loose whenever the grip gets removed from the racetrack, they might have to try and tighten that kart up a little bit. And Pasha Ali waving another driver by, I believe that is Orbezo going around him. Further back, that's Aston Wyatt, another very quick driver in this field. So, you know, the Mini Swift class, not the biggest class we have, but it's a very, very compact and competitive field.
Yeah, it's currently 10 drivers scheduled in this qualifying session. Simon Klein currently holds the leader position, or pole position, at a 1:17.777 with the 132 machine. Then you got Kate Casper, Alex Chandler, your top three. As we say that, Kate Casper goes to the top of the leaderboard with a 1:15.070 with only about 4 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, so a lot could still happen here as they work their way around the circuit. Orbezo goes up to P2, Wyatt P3, Simon Klein dropping back to P4 with Oscar Gus Wunderlich, who is now sitting in the 5th position.
Yeah, this track seems to be only getting quicker, so that rain definitely not going to be a factor as of right now, unless it starts to rain again. On your screen now, that is the 132 of Simon Klein. He just went fastest at 1:15.8, much quicker than a few of the other drivers. Oscar Gus Wunderlich, very close with him. They're about identical, only 0.08 of a second separating the top two drivers, with Jack Howell about a second off the pace. I wonder if no, that's definitely the fastest lap. So checker flag is out, I believe. And as they come around, we'll get our next run of go-karts out.
Yeah, this is the final lap, so everyone's trying to give it their all here on this closing lap as we're waiting for the flagman to give the checkered flag. I see one driver coming out of the final corner to see how he will improve on hit. That is the Iron Rock Tony kart of Alex Chandler. He'll go fastest with a 1:14.155 as they come out of the final corner, turn number 12 across the line. Kate Casper goes to the top of the leaderboard with a 14:06. And everyone else coming across the line here, got a couple more drivers who will see if they can improve. Simon Klein, a 1:13.93, a little over a tenth of a second faster than Kate Casper. Absolutely stunning drive for him in this qualifying session. Definitely going to be interesting to see how he holds up in the heat races later on this afternoon.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a mixed-up qualifying session because even Aston Wyatt's in 4th place, and he's a driver who we've seen definitely do good in this class. So as these drivers pull in, our Honda Kid Karts will come out and do their qualifying session. So Simon Klein on the pole here, and we'll see what those Kid Karts can do.
We're going to step aside, take a quick commercial break, but it will be the Honda Kid Karts next out on the track. You're watching Kart Chaser coverage of the TSRS Sprint Racing Series here from Amarillo.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're going to need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online, and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rim protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Welcome to Rimrock Raceway, the premier karting facility and motorsport-themed venue in West Texas. While you're at the track, be sure to stop into Victory Lane and enjoy our full-service bar and event center. We have live music and entertainment weekly, along with Texas's fastest go-karts available to the public. Located on West Highway 80 in Odessa, get your adrenaline pumping at Rimrock Raceway and live life full throttle.
To Kart Chaser coverage of the Texas Sprint Racing Series from the Amarillo Kart Complex as we get set to go racing or qualifying again for your Honda Kid Karts presented by Gallery Furniture. As there you see the Rain showers starting to break away a little bit here from the circuit, so shouldn't be too long before we see a dry racing facility here once again. Did talk to a couple of people. There is a chance of some rain coming later on this evening once the heat races are completed. So going into tomorrow, Rocco, we expect to possibly see some major rain coming in. That's going to possibly wash away all the hard rubber and work that these drivers put in today and yesterday, if you think about it. What's that going to be as far as the factor for these drivers to make adjustments to get ready for possibly a green racetrack tomorrow?
It'll just make it a new day. They'll have to, start from scratch again and, focus on that setup. A few drivers are probably already ready for what this track will do when it loosens up. So some drivers may be a little bit more ready than others, as we have one more kart getting picked up and ready to go. And once he's in, we'll have our Honda Kid karts released. So, yeah.
That is the Tony kart of Adrian Vargas in the 133. He currently qualified in P10. So he's going to have a little bit of work to do in the heat races this afternoon. So got to go back to the drawing board, seeing what he can do to make adjustments to try and at least get a better starting position for the finals tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate for that to happen during the qualifying session. But as you said, with that rain coming to us later tonight, as it's forecasted, this track will definitely be cleaned up a little bit. So, yeah, we'll see if it, even if it rains during the races, we'll see. I don't think I've ever seen wet weather conditions at this racetrack. So it'll definitely be a whole new factor to look at and see what these drivers can do. Maybe some drivers come out on top that we didn't expect. Some drivers that may have a little bit of a talent in the rain. So rain's always, I wouldn't say it's always welcome. Some drivers probably welcome it a lot more than others. Some are a little bit twisted in the fact that when they see rain, they kind of start to get excited because they have the advantage on other drivers. So, I don't think it'll happen. I think we'll stay clear for the rest of the day. I think everybody else also suspects that as you look at the sky. It's definitely clearing up a little bit. It's still partly cloudy, but I think as we get further into the day, it'll clear up. So Kid Kart's still just waiting on their signal to head out, and then we'll get ready with our qualifying for Honda Kid Karts.
A quick rundown of at least your top 5 in the Honda Kid Karts Championship leader standings. Caden Tudor currently holds the points lead by about 89 points over Bodie Bayer in second. Brody Brown sits in third with Holden Henson fourth, and Beckley Anderson rounds out your top 5. Still a lot of points up for grab here, just because you may be about 100 points out. You could still possibly get that opportunity to propel yourself forward in the championship if any one of those drivers inside that top 5 has a bad qualifying and a bad heat race.
Yeah, and Kid Karts has to be one of the most unpredictable classes we have. Sometimes drivers will come into a weekend and just have a whole handload of pace that some other drivers just can't keep up with. So it could be see a whole new story this weekend, as we have quite a good entry of Kid Karts. I believe we have around 10 Kid Karts registered for this weekend. So all 10 of them. Some may be a little bit quicker than others, but a few of these drivers for sure have been competing all year and are definitely looking to one-up each other as they pour out onto the racetrack now. 53 pulling out, as well as, I believe, excuse me one second, as we have a shot of our traffic alongside the racetrack. So Trey Sanders in the 36, my mistake. So the drivers out on track now, they're going to get around, do a few warm-up laps, and then as we have a spinner, the 21 of Wiley Lee going around there. Good thing it was on the opening lap, so no real issue there. Maybe lost a driver that they tried to draft off of, but then again, the draft practically doesn't exist in this class. Out in front, that is Trey Sanders with a bit of air up in front and behind, so clear racetrack for Trey Sanders. Up in this group right here, you see 4 drivers all tightly knit. Some drivers might even get held up in this pack if they're a little bit quicker from behind. So they need to sort this out and try to get their laps done. That is Holden Henson and Beckley Anderson both working together. We'll see if Anderson can get around. And yeah, we're still not even in on the hot lap, so we'll see.
Yeah, we talked briefly about Wiley Lee. We saw him finish third last time we were here at Amarillo for the IKF Grand National. So
really good effort, feels comfortable here around the track. So we'll see what he can do, if he has a shot maybe to work his way up through the field here after that spin. We'll keep track of his qualifying efforts as we watch the 36 car of Trey Sanders come around. He will start his first flying lap here as he comes out of turn number 12 to kickstart qualifying here at the Amarillo Kart Circuit. Across the line, and his opening lap of 1:47. So he's got some time to make up here as Caden Tudor and Bodie Bayer will be right behind him in second and third as they work their way towards turn 1 and 2. So far, so good, but a little bit of separation from everyone inside this group of 3. And now we got to keep an eye a little further back around that 6th position on track as we see a couple of drivers, that being Holden Henson and Bodie Bayer, really starting to work together, utilizing the draft and the slipstream. I know you touched on it, but that's got to be a little bit helpful for them to try to work their way around the circuit compared to the rest of the field. As there you saw the 99 of Holden Henson slide his way out of that corner. Yeah, that was a huge 4-wheel slide coming out of that corner. Pretty cool to see out of a kid car. You usually don't see these cars get too out of shape, and when they do, it's a bit of a bog down. So to be able to hold that slide all the way through the corner was pretty cool to watch. Trey Sanders still with that lead here. As you saw a second ago, the parents on the line, on the pit lane, telling their kids to get after it and start crunching down these laps. So Anderson still sitting behind Henson, as we said. I wonder if Anderson is trying to get around as we see Anderson pull out to the inside. So hopefully by the next time they come around, it's a little bit more clean as far as track position. Every driver doesn't get caught up on each other, as you see, I believe that is Sanders coming into the final corner now. And yeah, Anderson still not able to get around Henson here. Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that here as they work their way towards the back half of the race circuit, towards turn 10, 11, and 12. And as they work their way through, Trey Sanders will be the first one to cross the line. There you see the parents and the coaches giving hand signals. Caden Tudor sets the fast lap with a 39.366, so he's got about a half a second lead over Wiley Lee, who dropped down to second place. Holden Henson, Beckley Anderson, your top 4, then Bodie Bayer rounding out the top 5. So we touched on it briefly, those 2 drivers, the 99 of Henson and Beckley Anderson, working together to try to utilize the toe, and it seems to be benefiting them for this time, just not enough to maybe get that pole position. I'm betting if the 99 of Henson did not have that slide coming out of that corner we just went through, they probably could have been up towards the top of the leaderboard. As we see now Henson give way. Going to let Beckley Anderson through, possibly. Nope, thinks better of it. And will continue to lead this group of cars as they work their way into the next hairpin. Anderson, I think, is trying to get a little frustrated sitting behind Henson here. Ooh, a little bit of a contact there. That was hopefully just a mistake there. So I think in Anderson's best interest here is probably just to back off for this next lap, because with all this time being wasted trying to get around Henson, it's just hurting their qualifying session right now, hurting the both of them as they both have to alternate their lines to compensate for one another. If Anderson was just able to back off just a little bit and get a little bit of space, as we see I believe that's the 53, or is that the 23? The 53. That is your pole sitter. Yeah, Caden Tudor off in turn 8, I believe. So getting around now with the help of a corner worker there, still on the pole by about half a second. So pretty comfy pole position there, as I believe we just got the checkered flag. So just get the checker flag. Flagman will wave that flag here as they come across the line. Let's see who is able to improve on their lap time. Trey Sanders comes across. He does not pick up position. Bodie Bayer goes to P4. Wiley Lee, your new pole sitter. Caden Tudor, of course, will not improve after that spin. But Wiley Lee is looking to be your pole sitter here in your Honda Kid Carts, presented by Gallery Furniture, with a 138.644. Then you got to go about another 0.7 of a second back to Caden Tudor. So he'll have a front row start, but unfortunately with that spin, that's going to cost him the pole. Beckley Anderson, Holden Henson, Bodie Bayer round out your top 5 as they will work their way around to the circuit right here. But so far, great qualifying efforts. Track is still pretty much dry for the most part as we watch on and keep on seeing what will happen. Next up on the docket for our drivers is going to be your Micro Swift category, presented by Kart Racing Solutions. Good class for us, a good points battle that we're also going to be keeping an eye on as well, Rocco, as we watch these drivers get ready to see who will set fastest lap and be able to lead them to these heat races happening later on. Yeah, and I ate my words there a moment ago in this qualifying session, as Caden Tudor was I said 4/10 clear and comfy there, but yeah, definitely not. As Wesley Lee was able to dominate this qualifying session, almost going a second quicker than anybody else. P3, even 2 seconds off of your pole, so a huge gap in the pace as these drivers pull back into the pits. So Micro will be out in just a moment. I don't think we have any kart recovery, so we might be able to get these karts out there pretty quickly. As you said, Micro Swift, just the younger class from Mini Swift, just a few years younger. It's the class that you get into once you get out of this one that we have on track right now, our kid kart. So we'll see what these drivers can do. Very young-minded, very young in general drivers, and very talented drivers as well.
Yeah, let's quickly go over the championship, at least for your top 5. It's Kimo Ahmad who leads the point standings over Dutch Westbrook by about 100 points. Then you got Victor Gus Wonderley, who is in 3rd, Tyler Blackwood 4th, and then Nyala Vargas rounding out your top 5. Kimo Ahmad has had a really great season, a couple of good wins, a couple of podiums, so one to keep an eye on as well. But Dutch Westbrook and Victor Gus Wonderley are right there in the mix to capitalize if mistakes were happening. I mean, we just saw in qualifying here today with one of our front runners in the qualifying, Caden Tudor, spinning out. Who's not to say something could happen to one of them in qualifying and miss out on a good chance for a field starting position in order to lose points or even gain points.
Yeah, for sure. As you see, few people on grid is waiting, watching their drivers, waiting for these drivers to get sent out on track. I believe I can even see Roman Haynes out there. Very, very, fantastic mechanic out there. Working with TB this weekend, I believe. So, we're still just hanging out, waiting for our Micro Swift to get released here.
Yeah, as we will watch and see. Oh, actually, I think they might be releasing them out on the track. We were going to step away, so we'll see what happens here. They are about to release them, give them a few-minute warning, and turn them loose here for the next couple of minutes. And we'll see who sets fastest lap. Of course, we will see the drivers. We see the TV card who will lead the charge on that 217 machine as they work their way on to the track. But we're happy to have you with us here. Of course, as a reminder, our warm-up and qualifying session is free to air, but once we go heat racing, we will go behind the paywall. So make sure to subscribe and join our KC Premium membership. It's only $9.99 a month if you subscribe on a PC. If you do on a Apple or iPhone, make sure you don't try to do that because it will charge an extra fee thanks to Apple and all that stuff. So try to do it on a PC or Android device to save a little money. And we are now seeing the drivers head out on for their qualifying attempts here. There we see one of the Sodi drivers. And here comes Dutch Westbrook in the Bennett.
Yeah, Dutch Westbrook, as I said, one of the drivers with the most exposure out of this entire field. He's also a consistent national runner. We saw him at Stars last weekend and even at Miami Grand. So definitely a driver with a lot of talent and definitely one that should be, rolling up to the front of that qualifying session, try and pull away from everybody else because I bet he believes that he can pull away from the rest of them. But yeah, Tyler Blackwood, another driver who is very quick, as well as Brody Stoffel and that Sodi right there. These two have been fighting with Westbrook all year, and if they can both work together here, as it seems that's how it'll play out. As Blackwood goes for a spin in the final corner, or used to be final corner, as we now have this chicane section. So Blackwood will get around there and get back underway. Unfortunate, because that could have been a very good position to be with Brody Stoffel, them working together on this long track where there are many straightaways. It's a very, very important to have your gearing and also that draft up in play for the qualifying. So many straights. And, Kimo Ahmad, I believe that is turn 2 there, right around and getting out of his go-kart. I wonder if he's done. Yeah. Obliterated that barrier there. What corner is that? I believe that is turn 1 and turn 2.
Yeah, that is not a good situation right now because Kimo Ahmad currently sits P3 right now, but we know for a fact that is going to change very quickly here as the lap times continue to wind down in this qualifying session. Dutch Westbrook all by his lonesome. Victor Gus Wonderley is also right there in the mix, the second car in line as they work their way around the circuit here. But Dutch Westbrook in that Bennett kart really starting to showcase some speed here. He is setting up a flyer for him as he comes through the final turn 10, 11, and 12 complex. Keep an eye and see what he can improve upon as he works his way through so far. and he will come across the line to set the next time. Then you got the two Iron Rock machines, Tony Karts, working their way across the line as well. Dutch Westbrook, a 14.73. Brody Stoffel, a 15.69. Jason Sanders rounds out your top three. Brody Brown in fourth position. Tyler Blackwood rounds out your top five. So Kimo Ahmad looking to at least be starting in the 8th position, unless Vargas is able to pick up some pace, which they do, and now move up to P8. So Kimo Ahmad not looking to kick off his championship run here today with a good starting position in the heat races.
Yeah, we're about a little over halfway done with the session. Tires are still coming in, as you see drivers still posting their best laps. Westbrook last time by with his quickest lap, as well as Brody Stoffel just able to enter that 1 second mark, as Westbrook is really in a zip code of his own here, pulling away with the pole position on your screen now. That is Brown coming into the corner of, I believe that is turn 8 there. So there's a huge straight here. This is one of the most important corners on the entire track. Ooh, a little bit of battling now going down on the back straight. So that is I believe that's Sanders and Brown both holding each other up on a very important lap. They have about, I believe, one more lap to go, maybe two if they can get around with it, but we'll see. This is not what they want to be doing right now, trying to fight. I believe Sanders thinks he's faster, so we'll see what happens. Slots back into place, and now with basically one more lap to go, they don't want to fight anymore and hold each other up. It may have been even better if Sanders was able to push Brown around this racetrack. As I said, a lot of straightaways. You got to focus on that top end.
Dutch Westbrook improves upon his lap time with a 14 flat practically. Gus Wonderlay is about 9/10 of a second back with a 14.95. Then Brody Stoffel with a 15.35. He's 1.3 seconds back. Sanders and then Blackwood round out your top five as we keep an eye on both Sanders and, of course, the driver of Brody Brown, who is trying to work his way around with that TB car, but can't quite seem to get the pull that he needs right now. He's looking so far so good as he stays tucked up behind Sanders for the moment. Thinks better of it. He wants to lead this charge as they head down into the corner, and a little contact right there as we pick up Dutch Westbrook.
Yeah, it's a shame that they're fighting right now in this qualifying session. If they were able to perhaps work together and push each other, maybe they could have leapfrogged Stoffel or Wonderlay, as we get the checker flag now for Westbrook, and he goes even quicker, 1:13.838. So I believe that's a bit of an unbeatable lap time for this field, as Stoffel now goes to P2. Sanders and Brown now come across the line. That fighting is not going to help them out, and they both don't improve.
Tyler Blackwood improves to P3, and just as I say that, Victor Gus Wonderlay goes up to P2 once again with a 14.69, but no one was able to come close to Dutch Westbrook with his 13.83, 0.8 of a second faster than the rest of the field as we watched him work his way through. Great drive for the Bennett driver as he's looking to try and capitalize on the mistake that Kimo Ahmad had, and looking to gather some valuable points for his chance to take home the championship.
Yeah, definitely. And Kimo Ahmad, with that unfortunate spin, qualified in 9th place. So a lot of work to do for Kimo in this weekend. So the points leader will need to find his way through that field if he wants to hold on to a more comfortable race lead. And as we go on to the next session, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it is the KA100 Junior presented by P1 Engines coming up next here. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll have more qualifying action next on Kart Chaser. coverage of the Texas Sprint Racing Series from the Amarillo Kart Circuit as we get set for qualifying for your KA 100 Juniors category presented by P1 Engines. As we take a look at the championship standings here for our drivers, it is David Ybarra who leads the championship over Tyler Roberts. Tyrone Kemper Jr. sits in third with Santiago Duran and Graham Tremmel rounding out your top 5. And Ybarra's had a really good season so far with a lot of great podium finishes and some couple of wins this season. So we're looking to see what Ybarra can do to try to hold off the hard chargers of Roberts and Tyrone Kemper Jr. because one mistake out of this, because of how tight the points battle is, could move him maybe from not just the points lead, but all the way further back to 4th or 5th position because of just how close it is in this championship fight.
And as we say that, the drivers are now filing out for their out lap. So we'll get to see who gets to go on the pole. I mean, we saw the warm-up session. We, got an idea of who was quickest, who was, maybe not as quickest, and things can change now as we get a little bit further in the day. The track gets a little bit more gripped up. Maybe some people have made a few changes to their kart since warm-up. Maybe they found something they didn't like. So we'll see as one of the Berry brothers leads us out out on our out lap, and
that's Carson Berry in the 810 machine who will lead the charge in his Gillard chassis machine. As they head down into the braking zone, there behind, you'll see a couple more cars get themselves situated, and then everyone else is trying to get those tires up to temperature and work their way around and get set for their opening lap here. A couple of cars get a little too close for comfort. That was the 846 machine working his way around. Tough break. That was Aldo, who was in there in that machine, who was trying to get his way around as they come around for the start their first flying lap. And Carson Berry will lead the charge. He's got Mike Duquette right there behind him, or Matthew Duquette right behind him, with Mason Berry right there in the third spot. 1:14.696 for Carson Berry. Got to see what he can do if he can hold on. But he's got to deal with Duquette all over the back bumper of him as they snake their way through the S's.
Well, those are two teammates there. I think I even saw Carson just wave Duquette by. So, yeah, and he's tapping his helmet. So I think even you might see Mason Berry try to catch up, and those three teammates are all going to try and work together and hold that advantage they have. The lap times on screen don't really mean anything right now, as they're still warming up and getting underway here. So about half a lap left until we see the real lap start to roll in. And as we get through this session, the tires start to come in more and more and gather more temperature. So we may see them go even faster lap by lap. So down the back straight and into the final few corners. Now this will be the turn. Oh, whoops, my mistake. My map is not updated. So this is turn 11 here, and then this is 12, then 13. So added 2 more corners to the track, or should I really just say 1 new addition to the track. So a few more corners than previous weekends on this track. And now as we fade a little further back, I believe that is Tyrone Kemper Jr. holding that train with David Ibarra and others in that train. I believe that is Hamza Anbar there in that arcane kart in that mix. So a little further back, we're looking through all the field here. Everybody's trying to find their pushing partner. A few drivers in no man's land with nobody to work with, and it's always very unfortunate to fall away. But now we have an interview with Dutch Westbrook and Caleb Vieska, if we can send it down to Caleb Vieska.
Thank you there, Dutch. I'm standing here with the fastest qualifier in the Microsoft class. Sorry about that. Dutch, it was a great qualifying session for you. You put 8 tenths on the field. Walk me through what it was like, man.
I just kept the kart on the rails, and I was super fast. And I kept my foot on the gas, and I just kept going. And when Chemo flew off, it gave me the chance to win. So I might actually win the point series, too.
Yeah, that's good. I know big championship implications after this qualifying session, too. I know you got to go for 206 Cadet, but who do you want to thank for this pole position here?
I want to thank my mom, my dad, my mechanic, and DJ, my family, and all.
Well, there you guys have it from your fastest lap qualifier in Microsoft. Back to you, boys.
What an absolute legend Westbrook is being. He feels so confident that he might take this championship away from Kimo Ahmad. But we do have a big update right now in the qualifying for your KA 100 Juniors. Tyler Roberts setting fastest lap with a 1 minute 8.718. Right behind him is Tyrone Kemper Jr. with a 108.72. Then you got Nathan Golzef in third, Carson Berry and Matthew Duquette all separated by less than 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, Barry and Duquette, those two teammates, still trying to work together there. As you see, Barry getting swallowed by that group behind. So hopefully this will be the help, because there's been no draft up in front. Maybe a push from behind is what Barry needs to catch back up to his brother in fourth right now. So Roberts with that pole position. Kemper very close, and now to the I think that's Hamza Anbar just spun out there in the final few corners. So very unfortunate to go around, especially with a new lap being posted. So your driver's coming around for a new lap. Duquette now to the pole with Barry in P2. So those teammates working together in perfect unison and taking advantage of this qualifying session. So Cox now in a third. Ibarra falls all the way down to fourth in this train now. I believe that is Ibarra still in this train with Tyrone Kemper Jr. and the 45 of, I believe that is Thomas. So few drivers still, in that pack, you have a few drivers down in 16th. So a mix of drivers in a few of these packs now. As you see, Duquette and Carson Berry still working together and pulling away from the rest of that field. They have a clean track forward and backwards of them, so no one potentially able to hold them up right now, as I believe everything is clear in the final few corners, so no yellow flags to hold these drivers up as we have the checkered flag now. So one more time by, we'll see what these drivers can do as they come around turn 13 to the checkered flag. Duquette and Berry come across the line. Do they improve? They improve just a bit. Barry now up in the pole with Duquette in second. Very close times. We can see if anybody else can answer. 0.2 to gain on these top two to get anywhere. Cox now with a 10th improvement. Kemper goes up to third. Very close there. Roberts into fourth. Cox gets demoted all the way down into fifth. Ibarra into sixth. As he comes across the line, what can he do? I believe he is only going to do his best as sixth. So your pole position now, Carson Berry.
Yeah, rounding out the rest of the top 10, of course, we said Ibarra's in 6th, Nathan Golseth in 7th, Luke Cruz 8th, Santiago Duran in 9th, and Maui Angel is rounding out your top 10 here today. So going to be a little bit interesting for some of these drivers as they work their way through. We did have two drivers not take time, Gage Bailey and Jackson Young, as we saw a couple of other drivers, of course, the 844 of Amelia Gus Wonderell, who had some issues as well, not having a good qualifying effort. She'll start 17th. So keep an eye on some of the action here as they work their way towards the tech area to make sure everything's up to par. Next up, one of our premier classes coming out onto the track, your 206 seniors, presented by Slipstream Racing, as they will get ready to head out onto the track. And Bryce Frank currently leads the point standings, followed by Reagan Seville, then Cameron Reed, Kelvin Jing, and Jacob Oliver rounds out your top 5 in the championship. This is going to be an exciting one because Bryce Frank and Reagan Seville, two aggressive, hard racers who will fight to the finish when we get started with heat races. And it's all going to start right here in this qualifying effort for our drivers, because they're going to go all out. They're going to give it everything they got. They want to be the one who leads us to the green flag for our heat races in the 206 senior races later on this afternoon. But drivers like Cameron Reed and Kelvin Ching, they're right there in the mix. If those two get together up ahead of them, they could sneak their way through and possibly take home a heat race win or even a finals win tomorrow.
Yeah, only time will tell. But as you said, Bryce Frank and Reagan Seville, two, I wouldn't know if they are super local to Speed Sports, but two Speed Sports drivers who we've seen race together plenty of times in the past. They know each other very well, and so they definitely know how to race each other. And it'll be definitely interesting to see how this plays out this weekend, as it is the final round. So from warm-up, we got to see a few drivers work together and pull away from the rest of the field. And I would assume our top 5 for this qualifying session will be probably Frank, Oliver, then you have Truly Adams, Jing, and then who would my top 5 be? I'm trying to think right now. But those 4 that I've named will definitely be in that top 4 for sure. We saw how fast they were on the warm-ups, and I bet they're going to repeat the same thing in this qualifying session.
So my question to you, Rocco, is who do you think is the one who has what it takes to take the pole position today?
Reagan.
Reagan Seville?
Yeah, I think Reagan has the potential. I mean, they all do. But if I had to put a bet on it, I'd probably say Reagan, as he was very confident earlier today talking about how he's on rails and how he's moving. So we'll see.
We will. So you heard it here first, folks. Rocco Ruzic says Reagan Seville will take pole position in your 206 senior category presented by Slipstream Racing. And the kart engines are fired up. They're about to exit out onto the track as weather conditions
looking a lot better than what they were, but the wind has picked up tremendously looking out onto the racetrack, seeing the flags that are right here on the front straightaway, absolutely almost straight line for the most part with the flag, especially the American flag that we have right here at start-finish line. Taylor, if you had to bet against me, who are you picking? Oh, that is a good question. I don't want to bet against you because I agree with you with the fact that Regensville is looking to be on absolute rails here. But if you know what, I'll go with the opposite, and I'll go Bryce Frank with that AR Academy team. That's good because I really don't know who's going to come out on top, but I just had to choose, so I said Reagan. Well, you know what? We're about to find out here in about 5 minutes as here they go out onto the track. A stampede of 206 out on the circuit, and we'll see who comes out on top here with this pole position. Drew Chappell and Braden Robertson will lead the field out on this opening lap, as we'll see here where Reagan's about the 10th kart in line in this group in his GFC machine. Same thing with Bryce Franks, trying to see where he is at. He's about the 3rd or 4th kart in line looking on screen. Talking about Bryce Frank, he's actually the driver up in front, must have come off the track in 3rd. That's a crazy kit he has right there. An AR suit, a CRG helmet, and a CRG suit and a blue helmet. So definitely one of the most mismatched kits out there. It's kind of cool to see. Some drivers don't like when a driver doesn't match, but I really think it's a cool thing to see how you've been around and you've driven everything. So definitely a driver with experience in multiple different chassis, whatever. So actually I think that's an MGM that he's on, an AR MGM, as I can see the bumper from behind, potentially his teammate as well on an MGM. So we see them all, Truly Adams as well, pushing together with these two. I think he was pushing with Oliver and Reagan Seville previously in the warm-up session. So now that he's found these other two very quick drivers, and as you can see, both Oliver and Reagan in the background working together, they have a train of karts trying to keep up with them. We can see if they can keep up, but these two, very quick drivers in their own respects. The driver right behind trying to fall in there. That's the comp kart. I believe that is the 620. Sorry, it's very hard to see here on this 625. That's Landon Melson right there in his comp kart right there in the group, as he will try to keep up with the rest of the field as they come out of that hairpin towards the back half of the circuit and work their way over. There you see another one of the comp cars. Oh, big slide right there by one of them as they come out of the corner exit. But there you see Reagan Seville trying to work with his teammate, the 618 machine of Jacob Oliver, and they're starting to pull away from the other two as they get a good run down the back straightaway heading into the braking zone. The two of GFCs will try to work hard to see if they have what it takes to take the pole position in your 206 senior category as they snake their way through the short S's before they head to short shoot to the final couple of corners. Yeah, the 3 karts could potentially be faster than 2. We'll see as they come around. So this lap, as I said, won't be very important, as it is going to be the first time they come across the line. So times are a bit irrelevant right now. As you see Truly Adams now pulling down to the inside of Kelvin Zing, trying to get that inside. And this is not looking good up for your front. Bryce Frank now with a huge gap to everybody behind. So they're not really working together as well as they should. Now Truly Adams pulls back down to the inside, tries to at least, and slots back in. So Kelvin trying to hold off that spot and keep that P2 position to try and catch back up to Bryce Frank, because they definitely need to right now. Bryce might even try to slow down just a little bit. I don't believe he is, because he is on a hot lap himself, so trying to do the best he can with this situation. So this is definitely what Oliver and Seville need right now, as they're both 2nd and 3rd with Bryce Frank out in front. Still with that pole position though, so we'll see what he can do when he comes across the line again. He doesn't have a pushing partner, but as you can see, they're starting to catch back up just a little bit, and as I say that, they're right back on the bumper at Bryce Frank. It's Frank, Oliver, Seville, Adam, and Ching who are right there, your top 5 as they work their way through the final couple of corners. Let's see if anyone is able to, as they work their way through around the circuit. Kelvin Zing is right there, trying to get a good push and give it to Bryce Frank as they come through the final couple of corners here. And so far, Truly Adams going to stay glued to the back bumper as they come through out of the final corner. So far, so good. It's looking to be a good lap for these 3. Oh, contact between Seville and Oliver. That's going to cause it. Kelvin Zing is going to be your pole sitter so far. And then Reagan Seville, top of the leaderboard with help from his teammate Jacob Oliver. Those two now got themselves wound up, ready to go. Truly Adams, Bryce Frank, your top 5. Yeah, Bryce Frank falls all the way down to 5th place there. We'll see what happens when they come back around. These two on your screen right now working very well together, just like as you saw in previous qualifying sessions. This is what you need to do on this track in order to be fast. There are some classes that we see that that were here in previous weekends that aren't here now, like shifter kart, where it's basically there's no reason to bump draft. But any of these single speed classes, even in KA 100, a little bit less in KA just because of how fast it is, but it definitely is a key factor in 206 racing to find a pushing putty, because without them you could fall behind even in races. You see drivers start to fall behind when they're in no man's land and two cars start to pull away, because more cars will always be faster than one. So we're about to get the checkered flag as we run out of time now. So around the final few corners there on your screen, that's Bryce, Frank, Xing, and Truly Adams there. So rounding turn 11, 12, and 13 for the final time. Will they snatch the pole from the other two drivers? So we see Bryce Frank come across the line. Any improvements? He goes to the pole. Bryce Frank now up into the pole. Will they answer? Seville and Oliver both do not answer that call. So Bryce Frank will be on the pole. Adams second. Ching in 3rd place. My Bet in 4th. Reagan Seville. Jacob Oliver in 5th. Harrell 6th. Melson 7th. Willander 8th. Fitz 9th. And Bamru in 11th as Braden goes to 7th.
One thing I noticed on that final lap between Reagan Seville and Jacob Oliver, when they were coming on that main hairpin on the back straightaway, they kind of cut the course a little bit, got into the gravel and the grass right there. I wonder if that was what caused them to not have that good lap time, messed up their momentum a little bit. That cost them the chance to get the front row.
That could have been, but I mean, as we have now, I mean, none of that matters because Bryce Frank is on that pole. He's took it from them. They tried very hard. They had it for a second, and now the two AR Academy drivers are split by Truly Adams. So we'll take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have more qualifying sessions here in Amarillo.
Toothbrush sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the Kart on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop AKR.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Maryland USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
of the Texas Sprint Racing Series. It's time for your KA 100 Masters presented by High Five Performance as they work their way around to start their opening warm-up lap. It is Pierce Baldus who leads the championship over Miguel Muir, and then Kyle Walters, David Pregande, and Evan Kozak, your top 5, but it's a tight points battle between both Baldus and Miguel Muir, who are having a very good fight. It's either one of those two who's always at the front of the field when it comes to racing here in your KA 100 Masters, as these drivers will put on a stellar fight to the finish here and they work their way around to get set for their warm-up lap. There you see the 476 of Pierce Baldus leading the charge in the high-performance machine as they work their way around towards the back half of the circuit.
Yeah, and these drivers, definitely a class that we may see a little bit less bump drafting in. We actually, we'll see, you know. I mean, as I said before, it's a faster class than 206. Bump drafting is a little bit less needed. I mean, on a track like this, it probably would be beneficial, especially if you have a few of your teammates there like Baldus does behind him. So we'll see what they do. I mean, this time by, they'll start their hot lap. So a good little train up here in front. A lot of these drivers are going to benefit from the draft. Behind us, we have a yellow flag. That is Miguel Muir off. Or no, that is not Miguel. That's another Carlos Sainz kart there, cruise development kart, I believe. That is the 84. It's hard to see from here, but I believe that is the 84 off in the final corner. Unfortunate, a mechanical failure from that go-kart. So as we see more fighting, wow, a big sin to the inside to get that position. The 415 of LeBaron, sorry. Getting around the 407 there. So pointing forward, we'll see what they can do, trying to get with his teammates still. So I think a few other of the high five drivers following behind there on Pierce Baldus. So a lot of pace coming from your points leader here in this session. We'll see what if LeBaron can get up behind and start working together with that driver. If so, as we have a Bryce Frank interview downstairs. So we'll send it over to Caleb Vieska here in just a moment.
Thank you there, Rock. I'm sitting here with your 206 senior fastest qualifier, Bryce, leading the championship and leading the field to green. Talk to me about that lap there in qualifying.
Yeah, I know. We just put our heads down, try to get the best lap we can. Our plan was just to go out front, see what we can run, and we did it. So thanks to Kelvin, the team, we really put a nice flyer lap down. Truly Adams was with us there too, so he was helping us push to get a fast lap.
Yeah, and I know it's definitely it's going to be hectic whenever the heat racing starts, but you need a good, finishing position on all the heat races to, catapult yourself further up in the championship. Talk to me about, the mindset going into the heat races here in a couple of moments.
You know, we were going to try to do the same thing we did at DKC, just lock up the front row at the start and get Kelvin behind me or Kelvin in front of me, and we just push as far as we can to the last lap.
And lastly here, how's KA going for you this week? I know you're running double duty, and Rocco's messing with you about all the mismatching going on here this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, K is going great. I still got to figure out the braking, and, you know, K is like a lot much harder than 206, so I still got to figure it out, but I think I'll get there, and it's helping me in the 206 journey for sure.
Well, there you guys have it from Bryce Frank, looking to clinch up the 206 championship here later on today, or tomorrow, and later on the weekend, I should say. Back to you boys up in the booth.
Thank you, Caleb. As we get set for it currently right now, it is Miguel Muir who has the fastest lap with a 109.186, not too far behind. Evan Kozak and Morgan LeBaron round out your top 3. Then Pierce Baldus, your points leader, is in 4th with Brent Harper rounding out your top 5 as the field works their way around the circuit here with a couple of minutes left to go in this qualifying session. And there you see the number 1 machine in that Carlos Sainz kart as he works his way around the circuit. Absolutely no help whatsoever. Puts his head down, ready to go, as we see a little further back, a couple of other drivers trying to work together, but not going to be going their way for the time being because Miguel Muir has set it up where he is able to just drop the hammer and just pull away from the competition in this qualifying session.
Kozak is only a thousandth of a second off the pole, so a really tight qualifying session from a few of these drivers. I might need to go get my eyes checked from earlier because I think that wasn't the 484. That was the 424 of Shane Burkett who had that issue in the final corner. So very unfortunate. A driver that we see very consistently in this series fade away in the qualifying session and wasn't even able to put down one lap. So very, very unfortunate from that driver, as now you have Kyle Walter go to the pole. Just leapfrogs Miguel Muir there and Kozak for that P1 position. Still very tightly knit among your top 5, less than 0.2 of a second, with Pregande in 5th place there. Our round 4 winner at DKC, after he was gifted that win from your top 6, all piling up in, I believe, turn 3 at DKC. So we'll see what he can do this weekend. I mean, hopefully, even with the pace that he shows now, he still has that luck on his shoulder from last week, and it would really benefit him a lot in these heat races as well. But, I mean, with heat races coming, oh my gosh, Pregande, as I say it, the curse. I'm so sorry, Dave. I just cursed you so bad there, going off and dropping a tire into turn 8. So he puts his hand up. Got to let all those kart drivers by to have a safe re-entry onto the racetrack. So he's going to lose that pack that he was just with. Very unfortunate to see that happen to Dave. As we go back up to your front, I believe that is, I'm so sorry, that is Mir and LeBaron, who just got around front. So now we go to the line with the checkered flag. That'll be no improvements from either Mir or LeBaron. We'll see what Walter can do. I don't think he improves either. So I think Walter's on the pole.
Walter does hold on to the pole position after your front runners come across the line here. It is going to be Walters, Mir, Kozak, your top 3. Morgan LeBaron in 4th. David Pregande, even with that little spin right there in that corner, he still is going to maintain a top 5 starting position. Pierce Baldus in 6th with Brent Harper, Randall Rogers, Thane Morgan, and Daniel Howie. Round out your top 10 here for your KA100 Masters, presented by High Five Performance. As there you see Walters, your pole sitter for today's action when we get started with the heat races. There behind you see one of the TB karts right behind him as he works his way around the circuit. But that will conclude qualifying for your KA100 Masters. Next up on the docket for our drivers is going to be your 206 Junior category, presented by Seville Electric, and your 206 Heavy category, or no, just going to be the 206 Heavies a little later on after that, presented by TV Kart Cadets. Then one of the main event classes, the KA100 Seniors, split qualifying effort for that later on today.
Yeah, same with this class. As you said, Juniors and Heavies also going to be split just for this qualifying session, and then they'll be moved back together for the heat races. So we'll see our Juniors come out first, and we'll see who can put it on that pole position now.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the 206 Junior category, who is next up on the docket as we will work our way through. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll find out more information with the 206 Juniors next on Kart Chaser.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're going to need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rip protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Welcome to Rimrock Raceway, the premier karting facility and motorsport-themed venue in West Texas. While you're at the track, be sure to stop into Victory Lane and enjoy our full-service bar and event center. We have live music and entertainment weekly, along with Texas's fastest go-karts available to the public. Located on West Highway 80 in Odessa, get your adrenaline pumping at Rimrock Raceway and live life full throttle.
Car Chase coverage of the Texas Sprint Racing Series. Next up here on the docket is your 206 Junior, presented by Seville Electrics for their qualifying. Immediately after that will be the 206 Heavies, presented by TB Kart. We'll go a quick rundown of your championship standings for your 206 Juniors. Robert Arana currently is your points leader, followed by Chris Tracy in second. Shelby Ramirez sits in third, with Eva Blem in fourth position, with John Paul Malcori, who rounds out your top five. Those five drivers, as where you see pretty much all of your five in the championship and a couple of others making some entries here in your 206 Junior. Hence why we're going to see this class and your 206 Heavies combined in the heat races and finals later on this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And as these drivers get around for their warm-up laps, sorry, I'm going to adjust one thing real quick. As they get around for their warm-up laps, you have quite a small group of drivers. As you see one bang their steering wheel out of perhaps frustration or whatnot. I'm not sure what that would be for. Maybe a little bit of separation, and I might be right. As that driver gets around, that is the 51 of or 21, my mistake, of Maui Angel, my mistake. So these drivers all trying to sort their way out. Sorry again, that was the 53 of Robert Arana.
Yeah, Robert Arana right there leading this second group, while Chris Tracy and Shelby Ramirez. So we only have 3 championship competitors here today battling it out for the championship in your 206 Junior category, as we watch on the 321 machine of Maui Angel, who is going to lead the charge into this group of drivers, as one driver might have went off. I saw a yellow flag. Yep, that is one of the drivers in the CRG machine that went off. Tough break for them as they work their way through. And here they head in to start their opening lap. Chris Tracy will lead the charge. Ramirez and Arana, your top 3 for the time being. As there you see the 324 of Chris Tracy in his GFC karting presented by TKS.
Yeah, a pretty cool entry going into the corner. You saw a little bit of an opposite lock just on the entry there, so definitely a bit of a four-wheel slide, and definitely on rails here, as you see no one able to really hold on to the back of Tracy here, even Ramirez with a huge gap. But as we can see, we'll have I think that was the first of the laps in the qualifying session, unless that was the warm-up lap. So we'll see if these lap times get any closer, as they're pretty far spread out right now. You saw, I think that was Mia Johnson spinning out in the final corner, so getting back underway now. Hopefully nothing damaged here. One great thing about this track is there's not a lot of hit when you go off the racetrack, not too many barriers or anything, except for when you come around to the front straight and turn 1, where there's quite a few barriers that you could hit. So definitely a track where you could see maybe a little bit less of, race ending crashes and a bit more recoveries, as we see some drivers do that before and come through the field. Like a few years back, we even saw Alex Stanfield in KA100 just blow through this field from all the way back. So it's definitely a fun track that promotes a lot of racing. The drivers really like how this track races. And as I say that, when they came around the line, you had Chris Tracy with an improvement, and Robert Arana only 0.5 of a second off of his teammate, with Shelby Ramirez improving to be only about a 10th off of Arana in P2. So your top 3, still quite of a gap between 3rd and 4th here. So it'll probably be a split fight between 2 different groups of drivers in this race. So we'll see what happens as the weekend progresses. So yeah, none of these drivers are able to really work together right now. And maybe that's why, when Robert Arana beat his steering wheel earlier in the session, it's because he was separated from Tracy. But I don't think he has to worry too much, because he still is in P2. He has that position on Ramirez. I think that's all he really has to worry about right now.
And he's got a good draft right now by Shelby Ramirez in that VTEC TV kart right now, as he is trying to close closer and closer to the back end of that kart as they head down the short chute to the final couple of corners. Arana right there, going to try to stay within a couple of kart lengths, try to see if he can still get a good toe onto the front straightaway. Chris Tracy now coming out of the final corner here to set another lap. We should have at least 2 more laps for our drivers as he comes across the line. He does improve to a 19:14. Arana does not improve. He improved a little bit, but not enough to take the pole position. Same thing with Shelby Ramirez. Improves, but stays in 3rd position, as well as everyone else so far. Not really gaining ground, but still improving upon their lap times, which is a good way and a good stepping stone in the right direction to see what they can do to make adjustments for their heat races and the finals tomorrow.
Robert Arana with a steamer last time by, only about 0.2 of a second. off of his teammate now and catching to the back of Shelby Ramirez, so might even benefit from the draft just a little bit here coming into this final lap, as I think we're going to get the checkered flag by the next time they come by. So definitely might even see a bit of an improvement again from Robert Arana with that draft into play. Might even leapfrog his teammate if he puts down the perfect lap he can right now. Chris Tracy by himself, a very formidable driver in this 206 junior class, so pulling away by themselves. Robert now with one more straight to go and a bit far away from Ramirez, so we'll see if that draft does anything now. Come through the final few corners. We'll see if Chris Tracy can improve on his lap time as we come through turns 12 and 13 for the final time in this 206 junior class. And you can see the checkered flag come out right there. So will Chris Tracy improve? No. Will Robert improve? No. But Shelby Ramirez does improve quite a bit with no draft as well to be only 4/10 off your leader. So your top three still closely knit. With that draft into play coming into the races, we could see a three-way fight for the lead here.
So one thing to keep in mind is, Rocco, I got to ask is, we see the pace that Chris Tracy has along with, they were able to set that one lap pace for the most part. What can we expect now that they started to taper off quite a bit compared to their fastest lap after that, just a lap after that? Do you think now is like a little curiosity, are they going to be good for that long run, especially when we go into the finals?
Well, I mean, you're right. The tires could have faded off, but in a qualifying session so short, I would more rather think that it could have been up to mistakes from these top two. Even if not mistakes, maybe they just put a much better lap down on that first lap because, you would want the tires to come in as the qualifying session progresses. But with that draft in play, I think the draft will definitely keep them a lot more closer together and might keep them together for the whole race. We'll see.
Yeah, we will keep an eye on that. Next up, though, is your 206 heavy category, and your points leader, Madison Knox, is looking to try and clinch a championship in the 206 heavy presented by TB Kart. Then you have the Maverick, Nick Miller, sitting in second place. David Rohde in a TB Kart sits third with Kevin Dickerson fourth and Jay Weaver. So we got two TB Karts in contention for a championship here in the hunt as they try to see what they can do, but they got a little bit of work to do if they want to try and chase down both Miller and Madison Knox right there. David Rohde has the best chance out of those three drivers with 725 points. So if things go his way, but by how the car count is looking, it's not looking promising for him to try and have a run for the championship.
Yeah, Madison Knox has a huge cushion there. I mean, I don't think anybody will potentially be able to catch up to that lead unless something terrible goes down for Madison Knox this weekend. So we'll definitely see as the weekend plays out. Still a few moments to go before we get our 206 heavies onto the track, so we will just go quiet for a second.
Go with your 206 heavy category heading out onto the track, presented by TB Kart. Nick Miller leading the charge. The Maverick machine working his way around to get set for qualifying. As we watch them work their way around, there's the 512 machine of RJ Guardo, who is now going to lead that group of drivers as they head down towards the back half of the course. Right behind him is the 535 machine of Madison Knox, your points leader, who's looking to try and clinch the championship here today in your 206 Heavy. Great season for her so far. A couple of good podium finishes and a win. So looking forward to seeing what she can do here today at Amarillo. As we watch them work their way to start their warm-up lap to get set and ready to go here once again. Right behind is White in there in the TB Kart. And then a couple of other drivers trying to get themselves set up and find their dancing partners to get set for this opening qualifying lap.
Yeah, these two here are definitely two dancing partners that would pull away from the rest if they can really work together, because RJ, a driver that we don't see too much in this series, came up from Lubbock, and he was fastest in our warm-up session. And right behind him is Madison Knox, who is our points leader. So if these two can find each other on track and really start to work together, they could definitely benefit from that. As you see, Madison Knox had a little bit of a poor exit there coming out of the final corner, so maybe we see RJ pull away. I'm not too sure. We're just very, very early stages of this qualifying session. As you see there, that's Chris White on that TB right there by himself, tucking, trying to get as much of an advantage as he can of that arrow by himself. So very unfortunate that he's by himself right now. He does have a TB teammate helping from behind, or not helping, but potential help if they could slow down and maybe try to link up on track. But as of right now, definitely in no man's land. So we'll get around next time by. They all have started their hot laps as of now. So when the times come around, they'll be posted. RJ up in front, pulling a big margin on under one lap between him and Madison Knox. So it might be RJ with the early advantage in this qualifying session. We'll see if anybody can attest to that. As so yeah, on our screen still Chris White, just trying to get around and put down that first lap. So we'll see what happens with RJ this next time by as they're coming through the chicanes. If we can get a quick look over to our two leaders, Madison Knox has even closed that gap down just a little bit on RJ. So depending on where she crossed the line, gauging the distance between her and RJ, we might even see Madison go up to the pole now. So definitely closer than last time by. We'll see if Madison takes it. Madison does take it by 0.04 of a second. So very smart play by Madison Knox there. Even though there was a gap, she's not even... Well, what I'm trying to say is there's no advantage towards RJ. There's no push, but there is a draft for Madison Knox, and she played it perfectly by leaving a little bit of a gap and then just closing it by the next time they got around to the checkered line. So Madison right now with the advantage. We see if RJ can improve on that lap. Still by himself as far as pushing goes. Madison trying to catch back up, but now she's even more in the draft than I would say last lap. So maybe an even bigger lap is coming as RJ goes off the racetrack and makes a huge mistake. So Madison Knox now without that draft. As you see, RJ tap his helm, a little bit of a mistake there, but he's still very up towards the front, a second clear of everybody else. Gomez in third, a second off of your top two.
How about this? Nick Miller did not take qualifying here today so far, so he is on the entry for today's action, but the problem is he did not go out to set a qualifying time, so he's going to be starting tail end Charlie in your 206 heavy category. Going to have a lot of work to do, as right here towards the back half, one driver is
Nick
slow.
Miller.
That is Nick Miller. For some reason did not set a time yet, but here he comes, and he has really slowed down the pace as he waits for the chance to maybe get a toe off the rest of the field. That 513 machine, he will come across the line. Does set a time, but he's still got a lot of work to do as Madison Knox goes purple once again with the 1949 as she goes off the track once again.
Yeah, Madison Knox making a mistake as well. I wonder if this track is starting to get a little slick as these drivers are dropping tires left and right. You saw Nick Miller in the grass there a moment ago. We weren't too sure what had happened. We thought that Nick hadn't come out for the practice or for the qualifying session. I could have swore I saw that Top Gear go-kart out there in the pits earlier today. So we'll see if Nick can put down a decent lap time. As you said, we suspect that he might have been waiting for those two to come by to try and get that draft. He looks over his shoulder and see Madison Knox, so this might even be a bit of a help that they both made a mistake there and both caught each other back on the same part of the racetrack if Nick Miller can work together with Madison Knox, but it doesn't seem that he wants to slow down and give her any of that draft. As you see, he's really leaning forward with his posture, trying to get as much of an advantage with that arrow as he can. So Nick Miller all alone on this track. We'll see. This will be his first true lap time this time by, as we haven't had anything, as he is 45 seconds off your pole, which can't be true if he's going at race pace. So now we have him going through the final few chicanes. This right-left chicane just got recently added as checkered flag is out. Will RJ improve? Madison Knox had the pole a second ago. Guajardo goes up to the pole now. Knox knocked down to P2. You have Chris White going up into P3, breaking that second mark between him and the leaders. Gomez still in fourth, over a second back from your leaders. And Nick Miller came across the line and only had a 1.6 second gap between him and the leader, so he's in 8th place. Not the best qualifying session that we've seen from Nick. He's definitely been faster in previous weekends, so we'll see if Nick has anything to do to improve on that go-kart or his own driving, as Guajardo stretches his arms out and is done with this qualifying session. Even though he also dropped a tire, still came away with that pole position.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive drive for him. For the driver from Lubbock, Texas, made a little bit of a drive north to come up here to race and put on a little bit of a show here with the Comp Kart's factory team here today, as Madison Knox will be starting on the front row with him. So we'll keep an eye on these two drivers during the heat races, and also watch Nick Miller as he tries to overcome a not the best starting position, starting in P8 later on this afternoon. But next up on the docket is two more classes left for qualifying. Your 206 Cadet, presented by Rimrock Raceway. They're next, right here on Kart Chaser.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Kart Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Kart Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack, pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
Cartridge coverage of the Texas Sprint Racing Series here with your 206 Cadets, presented by Rimrock Raceway. Coming out onto the track next, Tanner Barsh is your championship points leader over Theodore Mitchell. Dutch Westbrook, another driver who is trying to go for the double, taking home 2 championships possibly this weekend, with Aston Wyatt in 4th. Marshall Steves rounds out your top 5 in the championship. Of course, Tanner Barsh, we've seen him week in and week out putting on stellar drives no matter where he goes and competes at. Always a factor, but Dutch Westbrook, I've got to keep an eye on him. He's going to try to go for the double.
Yeah, of course. Dutch, as we said, a very exposed driver in the national scene as well. So a driver with a lot of references to pull from, and also a lot of experience under his own belt. So a very, very quick driver. We saw how fast he was in the warm-up session, so we'll see what he can do in this qualifying session as we have them all pour out at once. They're darting for position now, coming out of the pits, trying to get track position and find their pushing partner. So you can see there's Westbrook. Ooh! One driver off into the grass. I'm not too sure who that was. That could have been... I'm not too sure. I'm not going to put an ID on that car until we can. That's a 222 of Dusty Strayer. Dusty Strayer is off very early in the session. Gives us a thumbs up, I believe. So we'll have him hopefully get underway very shortly, as he needs to use every bit of this qualifying session as he can. So Dusty Strayer, our kid car driver who has graduated up into the micro classes and as well as the cadet, or should I say cadet classes. So definitely a new challenge for Dusty. Not too sure what happened there whenever he fell off of the racetrack. I bet it was just a small little error between him and maybe one other driver. So he'll get back underway. Nothing wrong with that card, I believe. So good to see him back on the track. And now as we cut back to our front view, that is Tanner Barsh on our screen there, coming around for his first of the time lapse. So warm-up lap now, and a few more laps left, or a few more corners left until we get to that line and start our time. So out in front, I believe that is Morowek, with Barsh following closely behind him. Marshall Steves, Morowek's teammate, in third, Westbrook in fourth. So there's Westbrook there right behind Steves. We'll see if Westbrook tries to get around on this lap or push together with Steves. I mean, we know how quick Westbrook was, and he's already on the bumper coming into that corner, as you saw in the corner of your screen, going for the overtake now. So Westbrook now up in front of Steves there. And you're two up in front with Morowek and Barsh. Still a bit of a gap between these two. We'll see if Barsh can try to close that gap up and work together with Morowek, or if he tries to get around, as we saw what Westbrook just did a moment ago. So Westbrook making headway on this field, and we'll see what they can do next time by.
Yeah, Dean Gregorio also moved up in that opening lap. So he currently sits in P3 for the time being. We'll see what he's able to do to improve upon that in the 211 machine as he works his way around the circuit, driving that Burrell Art from Sperry, Oklahoma. So we'll see if the OKC will have a good representation here today in Amarillo as they work their way through around the circuit towards the final couple of corners to showcase their first official flying lap around here. And as they come out of the final corner across the start-finish line, it'll be Tyler Moriak and Tanner Barsh who will go 1-2. Dutch Westbrook moves up to P3. Marshall Steves P4. Aston Wyatt does not really make a big gain because Theodore Mitchell and Benjamin Osborne round out your top six for the time being.
Tanner Barsh now goes down the inside of Tyler Moribrook there for the lead of this pack up in front. You saw Westbrook in third there, getting leapfrogged by a few drivers there now. He's down to fifth. I mean, quite interesting. He's 6 tenths off the pole. He did have to make an overtake in that previous lap where he did post his current lap time, so we'll see if he can improve any more on that. I believe he will, as now he has free space up in front. Morwick and Barsh now working very well together. Garrier and Wyatt, I think they're also working together on a different part of the racetrack, so they're also very, very close to grabbing that pole away from Barsh, these two on screen. I'm not too sure what part of the racetrack Garrier and Wyatt are at, but if we could find them, that would be fantastic to see just a reference of what these drivers right here are doing. I mean, they're all doing basically the same thing. There's only one thing you can do to get a good lap in these qualifying sessions, and that is work together, especially in the 206 class. So as they come around again, we'll see what Barsh can do, what Westbrook can do. They improve all very well. You have Morwick and
Dutch
Westbrook now into P2. So they all improved. Westbrook, though, by himself, basically, only about a tenth and a half off of these front two. So a very, very quick driver by himself. You see any more drivers come up and get into that top five? I don't think so. Wyatt got knocked out into P6, so there he is on screen now. That is, I believe that is both of Garrier and Wyatt there. So Wyatt, one of our fastest drivers in the season. We've seen him do plenty well in previous races, so he has no driver to really help him right now, which is unfortunate. Garrier is starting to kind of pull away and give him no benefit of that draft, but that also means that Garrier gets no push. So these drivers' qualifying sessions might have been stopped a little early in the competitive sense of things, as you have Barsh and Morwick still out front pushing together very happily. So they'll come around one more time. We're about to get the checkered flag in about 5 seconds. So this is the final lap for everybody. And for Aston Wyatt and Garrier, with the separation, I don't think they'll improve.
I agree with you on that. We'll keep an eye and see what Garrier can do in these closing couple of corners, if he can improve upon that. But here comes your current pole sitter, Tanner Barsh, out of the final corner as he will work his way through. Tyler Moriak will be right there behind him as they will push their way through. They'll go 1-2 for the time being. Dutch Westbrook does not improve. Same thing with Marshall Steves as they work their way across the start-finish line. Let's see if anyone can challenge Tanner Barsh for the pole position. So far, no. Let's see what Dean Garrier can do as he comes out of the final corner. Really good run as he comes through that final couple of corners, but he does improve, but he will hold on to the third position for the time being. We're going to send it on down to Caleb Viesca. He's with Xander Clemens.
Thank you there, Taylor. I'm sitting here with our very own Xander Clemens. It's been a wild year of racing for you. How's the year been so far? I know you've had some struggles and also some good results like at Speed Sports.
Yeah, it's been a year where I think we've just had a lot of the pieces. You know, each weekend's had one piece of a complete weekend. I don't think we've really had a complete weekend, but you know, we've learned a lot. I feel like we've done what I was hoping to do this year, and that was let you guys grow a little bit. That was learn a little bit, kind of get a refresher on the perspective of what it's like on the racetrack after 5 years off, and more than anything else, kind of warm this seat up for a kid next year. So. You know, this weekend, kind of same thing. Bits and pieces. Not every session's been good, but that's also what practice is for. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I know this year it all came together with multiple different people. So I'm going to give you a shot to I guess, shout out whoever you'd like to thank for making this all possible and as well for the plans next year.
Yeah, next year, we're still keeping our eyes out, right? I want to kind of keep an eye on all the kids that are watching along at home and everyone that's here working hard. The idea behind what we're trying to do is, you know, help someone each year with kind of a round-robin scholarship type deal that just gets you an extra bit of funding to go one tier up than what you're able to race, whether that's club to regional, regional to national, 206 to K, K at X30, you know, whatever that is. And setting up awesome partnerships with, you know, Kyle Uchinsky here at Amarillo and TB Kart. You know, a huge support from our major kart chaser partners like Curtis and Brooke over at Acceleration Kart Racing. The Odenthal family with Odenthal Racing products popping in. Pride, obviously, with the awesome gear. You know, we've got a lot more, I think, that we're going to be able to announce really soon, which will be really, really cool. But, yeah, none of this is going to be possible without that. And I thought both for me getting back behind the wheel and for pulling everything off that we pulled off was maybe a little bit too early, but it's been a ton of fun. I've enjoyed being in the pits a little more during these race weekends and letting you guys shine. You guys done a great job, too.
Well, we appreciate that. We wish you the best of luck on your final weekend and, I guess, final weekend of racing in quite some time.
Yeah, I hope it's a good one. You know, I was joking earlier today, you know, you don't ever really retire from the sport, right? You don't ever really quit. But it's definitely going to kind of go back on the back burner again for quite some time. So, you know, there'll be points, I'm sure, where I'll maybe do a one-off club race, maybe some testing here and there. But at least for this kind of full-on commitment and everything else, I've got some really cool stuff that I'm excited about that hopefully will take up more of my time next year. So, yeah, just trying to take it all in, enjoy it. Quali, 3 heats, so another warm-up tomorrow in a race, and have fun driving my go-kart, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, there you guys have it from our very own Xander Clemens. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, Caleb, as they get set for qualifying here for your KA 100 seniors. And we got to touch a little bit on this, about this situation that Xander is doing and all the hard work of giving back to the community to give that scholarship opportunity to one lucky driver who can have a shot of progressing their way forward, and how important it is to thank all the people who were a part of this scholarship program that Xander has put together with the help of TB Kart and the Amarillo Kart Circuit.
Yeah, I see Jake Faulkner giving a little bit of a wave there on this in the pit lane. I just think he has a new lid as well. You can see Bryce Frank there as well with a very, very old lid. But yeah, Jake had a lid the same as his father for a very long time, and this weekend now with a fresh helmet. So we'll see how good it looks when he gets out of that shade and it starts to reflect off that sunlight. So a few drivers getting ready in those pits. I think I can also see Beckett Friesen and Landon Skinner. So we'll see. I mean, it might just be any cue ball as we get out on the track. So they're waiting a few more minutes. I think we got the 2-minute marker just a second ago. So these drivers are imminent to get out on the racetrack and put down their qualifying laps. It'll be a split group. So we have 36 entries, I believe, last time I checked the registration. So they'll split those two groups up. Smart idea, give the drivers some more room on the racetrack to put down their fastest laps and not get held up. So, I thought when Xander was getting interviewed, I thought, man, he's holding up the K field to go out for qualifying. But then I remembered that there's two groups, so he must be in the second one.
He is in the second group. But let's talk a little bit of championship as they come out onto the track right now to start their warm-up lap. It's Jesus Vasquez Jr. who currently has the points lead over Aiden Rudolph. We talked to Aiden during warm-ups today and how confident he feels going into it. Then it's Peyton Phillips who sits third, quite a ways back, but still has a shot and a contention for the championship. Then the cue ball himself, Landon Skinner in that GFC machine. And then Jake French rounds out your top five with the factory kart. We talked to Billy about how much testing and a lot of hard work from Jake French has been going into the KA side of the factory kart team. And of course, Billy Musgrave is going to be out racing here today. In fact, he is sitting fifth in line there. You see him right there on the screen with the 979 of Aiden Rudolph right behind him. Those two going to work together. Of course, we see them quite regularly on the national tour, but in different categories for both of them. Of course, Billy, we see regularly competing in the shifter category, who won the Summer Nats at SCUSA in Newcastle a couple of months ago.
And even had a second place finish at in the Stars Championship just last weekend. So we see them all kind of file through. One of the TB drivers, Truly Adams as well in that train, as we see Adrian Cruz shoot down to the inside. And one driver just had a little bit of a mistake there. I'm not too sure who that is, a little bit of a blurry picture. But as we get down on this lap, I believe this is the first lap they have for a hot lap. So now we'll really get to see some laps get posted down next time by. A bunch of fast drivers have found themselves on the racetrack, including these two that we were just talking about, Billy Musgrave and Aiden Rudolph. They have a few drivers with as much of a caliber as they have with Truly Adams and Adrian Cruz behind. So if those drivers can all work together, as you can see them now, Billy Musgrave kind of fades down the inside. I wonder what that's all about. Probably just trying to establish his role as the leader in this train. So we'll see what happens in these next few corners as they catch up to another driver. We'll try to see them all try and slot through on this driver right here. As you see further back, that is Jake French pulling down the inside of Dallas Dunlap, I believe, to get up and with his teammate of Billy Musgrave.
Yeah, currently Beckett Friesen from Omaha, Nebraska in that Arcane Motorsports Tony Kart currently sets fastest lap, and as they try to jockey around 4 positions for the time being, we'll really see who will set the pace here on this opening flying lap. As there you see the one kart has a couple of karts making contact through that final set of corners. That's going to cause some issues. And it's going to be Mr. Aiden Rudolph to the top of the leaderboard, and Bryce Franks covers him right there once again to take the pole, and then Ian Howell goes and responds to that as well. So Ian Howell in the 934, that Red Speed High 5 performance machine, looking to take pole position for the moment after this round of qualifying.
Yeah, I think they got held up just a slight little bit by Bamru there coming into the back straight, because you saw the gap between Bamru and Musgrave kind of open up by the time they got back around that line. Now they're back on the bumper again. Bamru's not necessarily super slow because they're all still running together and still getting those lap times down, but they're definitely going to try and get around him as they all want to work together, and not with Bamru, as you can see them all try to get around him. So they did that successfully. Now we'll see what they can do. This lap with the overtake may not be a good reference to what their potential fastest lap can be, as you see Aiden Rudolph now go down the inside with Truly Adams. So they're both going to slot in and get ahead of Billy Musgrave there. So Billy Musgrave with the tail end of the field now. They all kind of spread out just a little bit. Only Truly Adams and Aiden Rudolph still tightly knit coming through that corner. So we'll see the lap times change again. You have Rudolph now go up to P2 with Truly Adams in P1. So even with those overtakes, they have gone up to the pole. Beckett Friesen now on third, less than a tenth between these three drivers. So very close amongst your top three. Adrian Cruz in the fourth. Dunlap with a fantastic lap to put it fifth ahead of French, Frank, and Howell.
Yeah, it's a good run for the TV kart of Dallas Dunlap right now. And then, of course, we talked about the Carlos Sainz racing kart for Cruz development of Adrian Cruz is sitting in fourth. There you see him on screen trying to get around the circuit. As we watch the 961 leading that car charge, that's Jake French, who's leading that second group of drivers right there as they, little contact, a little close further back between Cruz and one other driver. That's the 926 machine that makes close contact heading into the barrier or into the hairpin.
Yeah, a bit close there for this qualifying session. K100 is a very aggressive class, especially the seniors. this is basically our headline class alongside 206 Senior. So definitely a class where you can see people get their elbows out now up in front. And Rudolph, Billy Musgrave, and Trilly Adams still all 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 on the racetrack. Well, in that order, I should say Rudolph, Adams, and then Musgrave because he's actually in third. But Jake French now able to leapfrog both Cruz and Friesen for that P4 spot. So the factory with a very, very good qualifying session, getting second, third, and fourth here with only Aiden Rudolph able to answer to them.
It's CRT leading a hard chargers of factory karts right now as they work their way through. Then you have the Cruz Racing Development Carlos Sainz machine rounding out your top 5 as there's a little bit of a miscalculation right there as Adams will go around Aiden Rudolph. So now he'll be the sandwich, the meat and the sandwich in this group as they work their way down. There you see Cruz right behind. Becca Friesen in the Arcane Motorsports machine also, and then Dallas Dunlap in the TB kart, the top 7 as they work through the final couple of corners to come around to take the checkered flag here today in this Group 1 qualifying effort as they head off, as one kart does go off by the looks of it somewhere in the middle of the circuit.
We'll see, that is the 951 of Good there. So very unfortunate to be off in the crash. As you see, checkered flag is out now. Will there be any swaps for position? No improvements up in front. Can Friesen and others improve? You saw Friesen make an overtake there on that final lap. So unfortunate. He still improves, though. Goes about a 10th quicker on that lap. So your pole sitter is going to be Aiden Rudolph with Trilly Adams and Musgrave, French, second, third, fourth, Cruz, P5. Good out of this qualifying session. So unfortunate. Only good as 15th, though, for Good. So the other drivers, Jake Faulkner including, no time on the racetrack. So we saw him go out on the track. I wonder if his transponder wasn't working.
I think Jake Faulkner's right over here. I'm looking over at the end of turn 11 and 12 in that TV card, I believe. So tough break for Faulkner. He will not get to set a time. And due to the fact of him not getting to qualify here, he is going to be tailing Charlie unless someone else in Group 2 has the same situation where they do not get to set a starting lap time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Jake, but with that new lid, he'll look really good going through the field. So we'll see what he can do throughout this weekend. We got 3 heats remaining today. We'll see what Jake can do in these heat races. So the time to beat will be Aiden Rudolph's time. We have one more group of KA coming out this time by, so we'll see if anybody can still leapfrog Aiden Rudolph for that pole position.
It's going to be a little bit of interesting as they now enter onto the racetrack, ready to go racing here, and they come around to start their first warm-up lap to start qualifying. And Jesus Vasquez Jr. wants to try to lead this group of drivers as they head off, start to warm up the tires, and make their way through as the 9-10 machine gets passed by a couple of drivers, that being Sebastian Trejo.
Yeah, you saw him kind of going left, right, looking down. I wonder if he's concerned of anything on that go-kart. It seems like he's still underway, so as you see him pull over again, so there must definitely be something wrong with that go-kart there as he keeps letting a bunch of drivers by, potentially something gravely wrong with that kart. As I think he just slotted back into the train, so maybe he was waiting for somebody. I'm not too sure. We'll see as, yep, so he's getting passed now. I think that's JD Lamping on his inside. So he's found his group. I think his Arcane teammates right there behind him of Noah. My mistake, sorry. So on our screen now are 2 CRG drivers and Xander Clements also trying to get underway here. So we think we have maybe Harrell down the inside of him now coming into turn 11. Remember that lap time by Rudolph is still posted there, so we'll see if any of these drivers are quick enough to leapfrog them as we have a bunch of changes in the midfield. Nothing happening up front because this is only the out lap. So this is our real first hot lap, true time lap from the second group. On our screen now, that's Jesus Vasquez Jr., followed by others. I think that is, I'm sorry, I can't really ID too many drivers here just off the top of my head, my mistake. So that's the 911 of my mistake.
It's all
so
good.
Sorry.
It's all good. We'll keep an eye on the action here to see who is able to come out on top with this qualifying effort. They'll probably get another 2 laps to see who will set the fastest time. They have to beat a time of a 107.228 as they work down the back straightaway heading into this corner. Great passing opportunity that we'll see happening during the heat races. There you see Jesus Vasquez Jr. leading that charge, third in line, but he's got a good toe to help pull him down, and then a lot too far behind another driver who's looking to close the gap to maybe help push him forward as they come through the final couple of corners here out of turn number 12. Can anyone respond to Aiden Rudolph's lap time So far, no. Jesus Vasquez Jr., though, does go up to P3, along with Justin Music to P4, with Jonathan Bischoff, who is going to sit in 8th position at the moment. Beckett Fries and Peyton Phillips rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, Bischoff, the driver I failed to ID earlier, so very sorry to Bischoff there. Top 10 driver for sure up in that P8 position. So we have a few switches up in the top 10, so a few fast drivers. We'll still see. We have a few more minutes left in this qualifying session, so we'll still see if anybody has any answer to that first session, as you see Jesus Vasquez there get around Justin Music and Bischoff there. So they're all working together now in that group. You had on your screen further back those two CRGs of Joey Friend and Cohen Summers. And as you can see on this field now, as Jesus Vasquez tries to pull out to the outside for turn 11, as I think he almost gets clear there, and even Justin Music trying to get down on Bischoff there. You have Peyton Phillips joining this group now, a very quick driver. He's in 10th right now, only 6/10 off the lead, so they're all trying to still figure out their running order. And in front now, Landon Skinner with Preston Pico, 2 out in front of their teammate of Jesus Vasquez Jr. So a lot of fast drivers in this front group, and a few more seconds to go in this qualifying session. We'll see if anybody can improve. And as of right now, only driver I see improving very much is Peyton Phillips and J.D. Lamping, both going 7th and 8th.
Yep, and then Landon Skinner also gets into the top 10. He will sit P9 for the moment as he works his way through, but no one able really to pick up the pace like we saw last time by. Of course, this is the 3rd lap here for them coming up around, so they got a little bit of time to see if they can do. We really didn't see that fast lap till about lap 4 for Aiden Rudolph, so he has a good shot to try to drop the hammer. He's got a good draft for Jesus Vasquez Jr. as he's getting a little bit of a tug and a pull right here, right in the 989 as they work their way through in towards the back half of the course.
Yeah, his teammate there, Preston Pico, and Landon Skinner, 3 teammates, no overtakes as we see them come into turn 11, so it might be a little bit of a smart move here from these 3 drivers to all work together. They could have a much more of an improvement by doing that, as we don't get the checkered this time by. So if they do that this next time by, all working together like that, especially with Justin Music, a 4th car in line, and try to work together, it could be a huge profit for all these drivers. As you see Peyton Phillips give hand signals further back when they came around through turn 1, possibly pointing to his teammate or to somebody just to help him out. But you see Vasquez there now go down the inside of his teammate of Preston Pico, so I believe it's a little quicker as Preston Pico goes off and into the grass, so he has to throw away this final qualifying lap. Or I say final, but we don't even know if the checker will come out next time by. I'm assuming it is because we're coming around to that time. Landon Skinner and Jesus Vasquez Jr. out in front still. Vasquez with 3rd, and you have Skinner in 10th. So they're both in the top 10 right now, doing a good job of it. But is there any more in the tank for these 2 drivers? They have one more chance to come around and take that pole position away from Aiden Rudolph. If it's going to be anybody, it might be Jesus Vasquez Jr., as he's been one of the quickest all year. So he's only 2.5 tenths off of Aiden Rudolph coming through these final few corners, turn 12 and then turn 13, the new chicane that was added just this weekend. So, I should say that. So as they come across the line for the checkered flag, no improvements, but Bischoff to P2 and Peyton Phillips goes to P3. So very big moves for their top 3. Aiden Rudolph holds onto that pole position, so close from Bischoff to get that pole position.
Another couple of other drivers who made some improvement. Landon Skinner moves up to P9. Beckett Friesen to 13th. Sawyer Roussel 17th. He was able to improve on his lap time. Bryce Frank and Ian Howell round out your top 20. Did have a couple of drivers did not take times. That is Carter Knight, Benjamin Egdorf, and Drew Chappelle. Remy Engo, and then Jake Faulkner rounding out the field. So a tough break for them. They'll be starting Taylor and Charlie in this. But how about Aiden Rudolph taking the pole position as they work their way through? And then Jonathan Bischoff coming home with a strong run to the finish here. Just keep an eye here and see, as we did have the checkered flag come out. So we'll see here at a moment's notice just to confirm. Yeah, that was checkered flag. So one of our people was telling us, I don't think it's over, but I'm like, I just saw the checkered flag, so it's safe to say that it was over.
Yeah, a little bit of confusion there, but that was our final qualifying session of the day. So yes, Aiden Rudolph will be your pole sitter in KA100 Senior. Now we have a lunch break to go to, so we'll be a little bit of a break now up until our Heat 1 class. So
we'll see you by then. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, talk to our pole sitter, and then we will then go into our lunch break. So do that right quick. But don't worry, we will be right back after these messages. You're watching Kart Chasers coverage of the season finale of the Texas Sprint Racing Series.
So you will finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com? They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rip protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Welcome back to Kart Chasers coverage of the Texas Sprint Racing Series season finale here at the Amarillo Kart Circuit. And we did have a little issue. We're going to have our interview during the, of course, heat races later on today. So this will conclude our free coverage of today's action. We're about to go behind the paywall. So don't forget, if you want the chance to see the season finale, go and subscribe and follow us on that. It's only $9.99 a month if you do it on your computer or an Android device. We do recommend that you do that instead of paying the extra $3 that an Apple device will charge you. So please do so. Follow us and keep up to date with all the action happening this weekend for the Texas Sprint Racing Series. For my co-host, Rocco Ruzick, our pit reporter, Caleb Vieska, and the entire KC crew, I'm Taylor Burris. We'll see you in a few moments' time for heat racing action here at the Amarillo Kart Circuit.